Well, good morning, football fans. We are back this morning with the Saturday Morning Cocktail Kickoff. I'm Michael. I'm here with my co-host from Week Zero Sports and Other Stuff, Mr. Daniel Petty, and our all-time favorite Alabama football fan, Mr. Justin Riley, host of the Bama Standard YouTube show every Tuesday night. How's it going today, fellas?
We're back in studio together. It's game day.
All three of us. Wow.
I'm excited.
Well done.
First of all, I don't know how to take an Alabama game that's not at night or it's not going to be on CBS. I mean, we're going to be on in
humble brag hours. There.
Yeah, so maybe we can end the show on time today and get the kickoff. How about that?
We're going to end the show on time because I'm going to be front and center.
Well, y'all are playing at 11. Y'all are playing at 11 because the show is in Oxford tonight, baby.
Oh, well, there is going to be a show there. We don't know how that one's going to go, right, Petty?
Oh, I'm nervous, man. Yeah, I'm excited now. Now you immediately flip the switch to nervous Petty. Oh yeah.
Well, before we jump into that, let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. How about that? Talk about what we're going to talk about. We have an excellent guest today, everyone. Mr. Dexter McCluster. He was an All-American, I believe, at Ole Miss, NFL star, and he is coming today to talk to Rebel Nation at about 11 o'clock Eastern, 10 Central. Is that correct, Petty?
No, it's 9 Eastern, 10 Central.
9 Eastern, 10 Central, see?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, man, dude, he needs no introduction. He is a Rebel legend. I'll get into
9 Eastern, 10 Central. I don't know if you know your math there, buddy.
Wait, what did I do?
Yeah, you screwed it up. So what time is the guy getting here is the question for everybody.
Daniel, okay.
And just one already.
9 Central, 10 Eastern.
10 Eastern. So he'll be here in 25 minutes.
Wait, I thought you said it was 10 Central.
God dang it. No, this is all screwed up, guys. I am sorry to everyone out there because Daniel has messed that up completely. I'm pretty sure he is going to be here at 10 Central, 11 o'clock Eastern. Is that correct?
Yeah, let me shut it up.
All right, so let's get into football, guys, since we completely flubbed the intro of the show like we don't know what we're talking about, which is pretty true. We are a bunch of fucking amateurs, so, you're going to take a little bit of that as we get it, right? So let's jump into something really quick. What cocktail you guys got? This is the Saturday Morning Cocktail Kickoff. You guys pouring anything? Justin, go for it.
I normally have coffee to start things off, but I forgot to go to the store. So I had to go to my next biggest thing. And today's cocktail is sponsored by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And that's his energy drink called Zoa.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh. You may not make it through the show.
What do you mean? I'm excited.
Your head's going to explode. Okay. You're going to fly through the ceiling. That stuff's terrible for you.
Not at all.
Okay.
It has like...
Sorry. 9 Central, 10 Eastern. Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. Because I'm finally got this figured out.
So our guy, he's been giving me the bad numbers all morning. The guy doesn't know how to tell time, Daniel Petty. So from now on, we won't let him handle any scheduling whatsoever. We'll get the times right. So it's actually going to be 10 Eastern, which is 24 minutes from now. Totally changes my entire plan for the show. So good to know.
I need to
the times are right on all the advertisements. It just wasn't right in our little 5-second talk there. So for the few people on, sorry, a little off there.
Well, I'm going to have to go to our social media outlets and update everything now.
Well, since we've got Dexter coming in just 25 minutes, I'm going to rearrange some things. And let's go ahead and get started talking a little bit about that Ole Miss game as a preview. Because guess what? There is a, quasi big deal show going on over in Oxford. They're not as big deal as we are, clearly. But College Gameday is in Oxford. What do you think about that, Petty? And what do you think about the new guest picker they announced?
Who is it? Morgan?
Morgan Freeman, the best voice in TV.
They kind of pined for Morgan the last time when Katie came, but Katie was like the biggest star in the world, so that made sense. But man, Morgan's, in that everybody wants their voiceover to be Morgan Freeman. We got the best voice on the planet, Game Day, man. How do you get a better picker than that?
Here's the thing. Justin is very close to Oxford. If he had any kind of love for our show, he'd drive up there and get Morgan Freeman to do our intro, right?
If I had any love. I don't know. Maybe if my co-host wouldn't cut me off every time I start going into a point, I might consider it.
Sorry.
Isn't that part of our charm, though, cutting you off? Like
cutting Justin off?
The happiest part of my day is cutting Justin off in the middle of a conversation when he's really flowing. I like to throw a wrench in that.
You do.
I'm sorry, Justin.
Well, look, I guess we didn't have a whole lot to say about Ole Miss game day. Thanks, Petty, for being so engaged. Really appreciate your preparation on that.
What do you like? I was actually pissed. Like when I was a kid, you wanted game day to come. Now we have a Saturday morning kickoff show, which we got a huge Ole Miss contingent. When game day, I was kind of pissed, to be honest. But is game day really a thing anymore? Because
I generally watch the first 10 or 15 minutes of it. That's why we kick this show off at 9:30 because you get everything you need to know in those first 15 minutes, and then they just go to doing commercials every 4 minutes, and then maybe they'll do a heartfelt all the feels kind of thing or whatever. And if I want that crap, I'll do that on the weekdays. It's football time. I don't want to have my feels tickled today.
Well, and look, man, this isn't a plug for us or what we're doing. Or I honestly haven't watched game day. I obviously haven't watched game day in a full run in probably 10, 12 years.
Sure.
I just haven't. The only one I watched was the one in Oxford for the Bama game because it was in Oxford. I was finally excited it was there. But then the next weekend, I really don't,
Well, it's a little bit too whitewashed, and I think that's the reason why we did this show in the first place. Is because when you're watching game day, everything's been run through the ringer to where you just get really generic. Not the opinions are they keep it within their lanes and everything, not to piss off too many people. And we don't care who we piss off. We're just going to tell what we think, right?
That's right. I'm already getting chastised about Bloody Marys and shit. This is bad.
How many Bloody Marys did you have before the show started today?
I'm already down. This is number 2, and I'm halfway through it. I'm nervous. We've got Dexter coming on. I can't fucking tell time. Just madhouse. Shit.
Man,
well,
I'm excited.
Justin, Morgan Freeman, what do you think about him as a game day picker? First off, does he know football? Have we seen him picking before, or is he just out there to sound really good?
All he has to do is sound good. He can say the most ridiculous, asinine statement about football, and it can be completely wrong. But because it's Morgan Freeman's voice,
who has more football clout? All right, I'll give you a better question. Who has more football clout? Is it Morgan Freeman or the boy band guy from last week at Cincinnati, Nick Lachey?
Oh, good Lord! Dude,
I don't know if you guys noticed that their guest picker last week was a friggin' boy band member.
No, I was doing a better show, which was this one. So
right.
I ignored that because, first of all, game day shouldn't have been at Cincinnati versus Tulsa. No slight to one of our audience members.
No, I'll give a slight. I'm glad you said that. I'll give a slight because I wanted to jump in this a little bit early in the show before we get into our guests. But did you happen to watch Cincinnati play football I use the term football very loosely. Did y'all watch that game last night?
It was in my backyard.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Down in South Florida.
20 minutes from my house.
First off, let's talk about the last 3 opponents that Cincinnati has faced. I believe that was Navy, Tulsa, and South Florida Bulls. And as bad as Florida is, I believe they played South Florida earlier in the year and kicked the ever-living crap out of them, right?
They did, yes.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody that's played South Florida, save 2 really crappy teams, has kicked the crap out of them, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Why did Cincy struggle?
Because they're not great.
They're not good. They play in a conference full of homecoming opponents.
It's homecoming every week in Cincy. That should be a T-shirt.
I had to be careful because we actually have a former Tulsa player in our audience today. So,
well, no offense to Tulsa by any means. I mean, it's not a great season they're having right now, and we would expect the number 2 or the number 5 team in the country, depending on what poll you're looking at, to be able to handle a team like Tulsa or to be able to handle a team like South Florida. And I get it sometimes. Like every now and then you slip up and you have Tennessee come to town and you have a tough time with them. You go to Florida and you have a tough time. You go to Texas A&M, get your butt beat. I get that. But none of those teams are named Tulsa, Tulane, Navy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
This isn't a good Navy team that they struggle with. This is like a bad Navy team.
Better than last year, though.
No, I mean, they're not good.
But last year, their defense was like the slowest defense I've ever seen in my life.
They won like 2 games this year. They suck.
Yeah, they're pretty bad. So
appreciate what you did.
Here's the deal. Cincy, I looked at your team yesterday. The size, the speed, everything about it. And I know people hate to talk about the eye test or whatever, but sometimes it works, guys. And look, I don't mean anything against, my kind or whatever, but like when you got 2 white boys playing safety, you don't have a lot of high expectations. I don't think those guys could stay on the field with any of the top tier SEC teams this year. I don't think they could stay on the field with Ole Miss included as a top tier SEC team. I think Ole Miss would beat the tar out of Cincinnati. What do y'all think about that?
I would absolutely agree. Yeah, they're in a bad conference, but if you're going to be in a bad conference, you want to see that the Cincy is heads and tails above everyone else, and you don't see it.
Yeah, you want to see them handling business like Clemson did the last few years.
That's why they're ranked 6, man, because they're putting them at 6 because they can't put them any lower because they're undefeated. Are they 5 now? They
moved up a notch with the Michigan State loss.
Trust me, they don't want to put them there, but because they're undefeated, they're doing it by default. No, they couldn't beat any of those teams, and the committee's telling you as much. If they thought they could beat those teams, they'd be in the top 4 out of the gate.
Look, college football wants to make money too, and if they thought that it would be a money-making venture to put Cincinnati up against any of the other 3 teams, you bet your ass it would be there. They just don't want another Notre Dame-Alabama game where it's blown completely out of the stadium.
Well, that's going to happen if Cincinnati's the 4 and Georgia's the 1, because Georgia, we watched that team last night.
Well, I don't know. Out of all of the teams, I think Cincinnati probably have a little better chance on Georgia simply because of Georgia's lack of offense. Now, no offense to Georgia because their defense is so good it makes up for it. Their defense scores more points than a lot of offenses. So let's be clear that I'm not knocking them.
But what you just said, Cincinnati couldn't keep up with,
I watched Cincinnati play virtually the same Georgia team last year, and I get it, bowl game, unmotivated or whatever, but they did not blow them off the field, and an unmotivated team should blow a team off. I just,
1 second.
This Georgia team's different than last year.
1 second.
By a few players.
I want to bring something up regarding that game. Last year, the bowl game, I think JT Daniels was the only starter in that game. People were either hurt or they opted out.
You're correct. You are correct. You are correct. Our second string should be able to blow a Cincy off the field, and they didn't last year. So that was Georgia underperformed in that game to let them stay in that game. And that's the only reason they're able to talk about it right now.
I'm telling you, Georgia would beat Cincinnati like Bama beat Notre Dame. It's not going to be close.
In a bowl game for sure.
Yeah, if in a playoff game, they won't.
Cincinnati's offense just isn't lethal, and that's what I think. I think you got to have a lethal offense to stay on the field with Georgia because their defense is so good. You're going to need to put up the points. If you can put up the points, they're going to have a hard time catching up on offense. Now, you've watched them play a couple decent defenses this year, being Clemson and Florida, and they basically locked them down for most of the game.
Game day.
Y'all
in the grove, buddy.
It was 3-0 2 minutes before halftime in that Florida-Georgia game, all right? And they scored 2 defensive touchdowns right there to blow that one out of the game. Now, they could do that to everybody. They have a fantastic defense. I still don't want to take anything away from that. But will there be a situation where they have to go up against an offense that puts up 30 points, and can they keep up?
You're going to see it today.
I agree with Alan there.
Ooh, well, let's hold that one back till after our guest is here because he's about 15 minutes out, and I think we've got more than 15 minutes to talk about this Georgia-Tennessee game when it finally comes up.
Oh, he was talking about Georgia. He said Georgia wanted to play for the Natty. They didn't give a fuck about that game.
Very true. Very true. Very true. Well, so we're still confirmed for 15 minutes from now from Dexter McCluster. I don't want to run down this road and it be wrong, right, Patty? You got your clock on, checking your watch?
Yes. Hey, on social media, all those times are right. Where did I mess up? Other than what I said out of the gate?
I went by what you told me last night, and I posted them on my social media.
I didn't tell you anything last night. I didn't know.
I sent out bad text this morning. Anybody that's watching and got a bad text from me, apologies on the timing there. So before we get into that, there's not much to talk about in this Bama game this week. Let's be honest. Right, there's just not much to talk about. But Justin, can you give us keys to the game and get us going into this Bama New Mexico State matchup where Bama's favored by like 50?
Wow.
For one thing, my biggest key is I want to see that Doug Marrone is actually doing his job on the offensive line.
Okay.
And I expect some work today along that offensive front because the product we have on the field right now is unacceptable. And it's amazing to me is that this Alabama team still has no identity. We're on game 10, no identity whatsoever. And
other than being ranked second,
other than 9-1,
yeah, other than being ranked second in the country. But the biggest thing right now is the offensive line. I want to see some continuity. I want to see some sort of a decent product as we go into the harder part of our schedule coming up.
Okay.
I mean, Arkansas next week and Auburn the following week. I filed a missing persons report for Jaleel Billingsley because I hadn't seen him since the Southern Miss game. You realize that since then he's only had 1 catch.
Well, according to Nick Saban, you need to file a missing person report on his hands because that's what's been missing.
Mm-hmm. See, that's the key. When he gets the ball thrown to him, he's slapped it down a few times, to be perfectly honest.
Y'all have got a bunch of DBs playing on offense this year. It's very weird.
Yeah.
Well, let me talk to you. I'm going to get you off of the cliff really quick, Justin, because I made a little post over on one of the Rivals boards the other day because I saw everybody just melting down. And my first question is, and this is a trap. I'm going to just go ahead and tell you it's a trap. What do you think was the most solid Alabama national championship that we've had outside of 2020?
Most solid?
Which one would you go back and say, those coaches did it perfect, it was great, everything was awesome? You know, you've got 09, 11, 12, 15, 17, and 20. Out of those, which one do you think? They're all a trap. Doesn't matter which one you pick.
Well, the thing is, there's a disparity. What is he doing?
I'm watching the Aggies boy cheerleaders that wear ice cream men outfits on Bill Street do their funny little handshakes as all the fans. Come on, man.
Petty's life goal is to become a male cheerleader for Texas A&M. He is way too fascinated with this.
I want to be a dude cheerleader that wears an ice cream man outfit.
All right. Justin, real serious question before our guests get here. Pick a season that you think that we did good, that we had an identity, that we were awesome.
Where we were balanced on both sides of the ball.
Where you think that everybody did it right, because you know you're going back and you're saying you're pointing out all of our stuff that we've done wrong, and I'm going to try to flip your perspective a little bit. So just pick one of the pick me your favorite national championship season: 9, 11, 12, 15, 17, or not 20.
All these humble brags.
2009.
2009. Okay, in 2009, we played a Tennessee team 12-10 who didn't deserve to be on the field with us. We beat a South Carolina team 20-6 that didn't deserve to be on the field with us, and had another Auburn team that was way underranked 26-21. 3 games where we struggled like hell through the game to get the win, but we still pulled out the national title. I'm going to take it a step further and go to 2015 when we had Lane Kiffin and when we had all the people that we loved, right? Alabama 37, Ole Miss 43, lost that game. Alabama 27, Arkansas 14, barely won that game. Alabama 19, Tennessee 14, barely won that game. Alabama 29, Auburn 13, Alabama 29, Florida 15, Alabama 45, Clemson 40. 5-6 close games that year. Came down to the wire. We were probably cussing out the defensive coordinator, everything, but guess what? We still won the Natty.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Moral of the story is you don't have to be perfect to be a great football team. You don't have to be perfect to win a national championship. And I think this team does have an identity this year. I think their identity is they got a bunch of young players that are figuring out where to play. They're getting it together toward the end of the year. And I'm going to say one other thing that's very optimistic for me right now that a lot of Alabama players might have thought was bad news yesterday. But I saw a guy hit the transfer portal from our wide receiver group, Mr. Xavier Williams, right? Okay, he was picked to be our 1 or 2 this year at the beginning. When he steps out to go to the transfer portal, what does that mean? That means younger guys are starting to get put above him in the rotation. Are we going to see a Jai Hall in the next few games?
No, you won't.
Damn it. Why not?
Michael wants a Jai Hall to step out there
before he ends up at fucking Auburn or at Ole Miss. That's what I want. Yeah.
I've got some inside information. You'll not be seeing Mr. Jai Hall.
Ooh.
Tell me what's up.
Can't tell you on air, sir.
Well, can you give us any kind of clue? You don't have to give away anything. This is what the show's about, man.
You know how Coach Saban and we've all also preached on the Bama standard about how players are supposed to prove they can be trusted on the field, not just in the weight room, not just on the practice field, not just in the classroom, yada, yada.
Yeah, I get it. And I know proving it on the field, you got to get on the field to prove it, obviously.
Well, one of those areas, he's not exactly performing the way he should.
Well, everybody knows he's not going to class.
And there's some other things, but we're going to keep it at that. But as far as your comment about being young, yes, I understand we're young, but here's the thing, guys. We are 10 games in. Young applies.
And we're looking a lot better.
Did you see the offensive line last week?
Yeah, they got a guy hurt. When you start switching around the offensive line in any year, you go back to any year, an offensive lineman goes down. It sucks for a little while.
Dude, it sucks for a little while. Dude, they were basically an accessory to a murder last week. But listen, 10 games in. Young is out the window. Young is games 1, 2, and 3. And game 10, well, really game 5, you should start seeing a maturity process going on. Growth.
Okay, I'm looking at these natty years, and we're nearly losing games in the last 3 games of the year, almost in all of them.
Always so those games.
No, I kind of disagree.
They at least had their stuff together.
I don't think the stuff was together. I think our stuff's pretty well together.
I looked at them against LSU, some other teams. There are times during the game where our guys just check out, and they're just kind of mindless drones.
I think that's a little bit too harsh of criticism, but that's just me. I think if we win a natty this year, you don't get to celebrate because you didn't like it the whole year.
You know what?
I tell you what, man, you got to think.
I told you I was setting you up for a trap this morning. That's what it was all about. It was all a trap. But, I get it, dude. And I'm with you on a lot of the things that you're talking about. I do think that the rhetoric is a little bit too harsh on a team that has lost one game this year, that has actually won the two other games where they had adversity. A lot of years when we have adversity, we just lose. Even those natty years. Like, think about the Ole Miss games. We hit that adversity, and they kick our butt, and we get out. So that happened to us once, but it didn't happen the other two times, so. I'm glass half full. My crimson goggles are half red, man. Let's just say that.
Half red. Hey, one of those losses to Ole Miss took like 5 turnovers and weirdness happening. So.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, here we go. Turnovers, because weirdness never happens to favor you crimson bastards. Come on now. Like, I don't...
Well, so moral of the story is here, guys, and I'm going to run through some of these old seasons for us really quick so everybody in Bama Nation can just get a little bit off the edge of the freaking cliff. Because, look, in 92, I'm going to go with all the national titles that I've lived through. All right, in 1992, we beat Southern Miss 17-10. That team was awesome. That team had all dogs on the defense, as we talk about. They had the Copeland and Curry, Lang. I can go on forever at all the dogs on that defense, and they almost lost to La Tech and to Southern Miss. 2009, we already talked about that one. 2011, we lost to a terrible LSU team. To me, we beat them 20-something to nothing in the national title game. I don't think they were good, and we lost to them. Penn State gave us a run, 27-11. Come on. 2012. 21-17 LSU, 29-24. We lost to Texas A&M. Alabama 32, UGA 28. Close game after close game after close game in all these seasons. We got spoiled in 2020 because we only got challenged once in the regular season. That's what I say.
Kronberg, you need to add in the first quarter at the end of that long ass at.
Holy heck at the chats that I didn't even notice. Sorry, guys. We got a whole lot going on
here. Yeah, we've got all kind of chats. I was wondering
Holy heck. Welcome, Alan, back in the house. I like it. Oh, man. New Mexico State. Wow, no doubt. I'm with you. All right, we got an RTR Justin in there. A lot of people showing up. Thanks, everybody, for showing up. We got Dexter coming in about 5 minutes, so have your questions ready, and I will be paying attention to chat so that I can get those on there for everybody. You're right, Mr. McCullum. Time zones are tricky. God, I hate I missed all this good stuff. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I was getting hammered. That's why I kept getting distracted. You said Petty's distracted. I'm getting hammered.
Oh, this one's a burn. There's that Alabama degree at work for you. Well, it looks like we got 3 Alabama degrees here, and not a single one of us can tell time. So, well said. Well said.
No, I can tell time. I was just giving the wrong times.
I put the right time, I guess, everywhere except my co-host. That's awesome, Petty. Good work.
But, Michael, what I'd like to see today.
So, Alan's asking, did they announce Morgan Freeman? Is that official, Justin? You're the one that told us that this morning.
Are you sure?
That's what I was told.
Okay, so this could be bad information. Fake news. Somebody clear that up for us, right?
Yeah, I've got it on the side here. Everybody's wearing bow ties. Were we supposed to wear bow ties today? Like those home
You're not going to see me do that ever.
Yeah, I don't wear ties, much less bow ties. Like, if somebody dies that really like ties, I'll respect them by putting on a tie. If I'm at a party where literally everyone is wearing a tie, I don't want to be the idiot that's not. But outside of that, I'm not trying to put a noose around my neck, guys. It doesn't make sense.
Yes, Alan. Show up, don't get hurt, are the keys to the win. And he's right. First team, show up, handle your business, get your ass off the field, and call it a day. Matter of fact, I think we should just run the ball 95% of the time today.
Really, yeah. I do want to see them. You know what? I don't want to see Bryce Young run at all. I want him to throw it or throw it away because there's no need to risk running it down the field right now. He's proved to us he's got wheels. Let's not test how good his bones are, right?
Speaking of running, and I'll bring this up real quick. Very misleading stat. Alabama had only 6 yards rushing in the ground last Saturday. Well, if you look at the game from the second quarter until the last offensive drive in the fourth quarter, Brian Robinson and Roydell Williams didn't touch the ball.
Yeah, they didn't give it to him.
So those rushing yards, what rushing yards we did have, were negated because of sacks.
Maybe it was that nasty LSU defense.
Bill O'Brien, what are you doing? You have arguably one of the best run backs in the conference. Why is he not getting any touches? Hey, if they're loading a box, here's an awesome concept. Run screens. You're paid a lot of money, millions of dollars, to be creative, and you're not being creative. Get the ball in the hands of your playmakers, and don't, for the love of God, run Slade Bolden ever again on 3rd and 1.
I'll say this, man.
Look, I love Slade.
I love him too, but he ain't fast.
I love him, but no.
If you're going to do something like that, For the love of God, use Jalen Milroe. Throw something in there that nobody's seen before, and a man who actually has some get up in
some
his
wheels.
Legs.
Yeah,
He's.
we get that guy on the field.
I know Saban and Belichick are close, and they love that Wes Welker type in the slot. But man, Slade's a poor man.
But Wes Welker never dropped a freaking football ever.
Blade Sloden,
and he was fast.
Yeah, Wes Welker had some nitro in his legs to a point.
Are you telling me that Bama can't find a more athletic slot guy than?
Well, I think he's been around the program for a lot. He's kind of a leadership role, probably, if there's anything to do with it. But I mean, he just doesn't have the athletic ability to go with what's inside. It seems like.
Well, he gives me hope that if I could ever find a time machine, that I could go be a slot receiver again.
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
I ran a 4.6, 7.
That's pretty good. Now, hand timed, I ran under 4.
No, it was hand time 4.69. Real time laser had to be a 4.9.
Sure. So it looks like we're bumping up 9:59. You got any communications from our guy? Got a little ETA about when he should show up so we can plan what to do for the next few minutes? Live TV is kind of crazy, guys, especially when the producer is on the show.
Live TV is fun.
Is that Bloody Mary number 3?
It is. Petty at Colt A&M signing the Grove Boys.
Well, so while we're waiting on that to come in, we got distracted earlier big time when I was talking about our Saturday morning cocktail. We had Justin's cocktail come through. We know what Petty's got. Have you changed anything in your Bloody Mary this week, Petty, or is it just the same old shit?
Well, I got a new bottle of vodka because I ran out of the other. This is a
Costco, baby. I like it.
Hey,
Costco Kirkland's.
Yeah, they got some good stuff, man.
Hey, Kirkland brand. Not bad. It's as good as most of the name brands in many cases. I agree
Bloody
with
Mary. I mean, if you put good vodka in a Bloody Mary, you're an idiot.
If you put bad vodka in a Bloody Mary, it'll taste bad too, though. So keep that in mind.
Michael, you mentioned Nick Lachey earlier. Petty, did he inspire your hair this morning?
Oh yeah.
I got y'all weren't here.
This boy band thing going on, man. I'm digging it.
Y'all weren't here the week y'all were out. I did my hair. My wife told me that if I was going to be an effing amateur, that I could at least try to look like Jesse Palmer, and I can't do it from here to here since this part is out.
You gotta can you mute a little bit of the forehead to kind of go Jesse Palmer? Just take out maybe a half inch.
That's what I told her. She said, "Why do you wear a hat every time?" I said, "Sweetie, you know I've got an 8 head, right? I gotta hide that shit." Like it's ginormous.
Well, guys, I'm going to bring you a Saturday morning cocktail that I guarantee you've never heard of, and this one comes from a veterinarian of all people, believe it or not, that I used to know back in Birmingham, Alabama, and he had an affinity for getting drunk the right way. You know what I mean? And he introduced me to this little guy right here. Okay, and on its own, this thing is basically a fruit juice. It's called a Steagle Rattler. It's a grapefruit beer, and it's had juice added into it. It's foreign, so if you want to find one of these things, you kind of have to go to World Market or to a Total Wine or something that's got a lot of selection. But it's only, I think, 2.9% alcohol, so it's not even worth drinking the thing. And I don't know what genius taught him this or what, but you pour a shot of vodka in this bad boy and juice it up a little bit, and you've got yourself a hell of a cocktail. So if you want to throw a Steagle Rattler grapefruit in the cup and pour maybe a shot of your favorite Kettle One in there, have yourself a nice drink, fellas.
Great comment by J. Jared Smith Music.
What did JJ? Oh Lord, man! I did frost the tips back early 2000s Sugar Ray style, and then we went to the beach. He has a beach place. He has a beach place down in Destin. We would go. That was our summer beach place.
Well,
and the first year, all the girls were like, "Hey, you look like Sugar Ray," and the next year they were like, "Hey, you look like the Backstreet Boys," and I went and shaved my damn head.
Very nice, very nice. Look at this. We got Mr. Bill Simmons down on the Grove, tent up at 6 a.m. First Bloody Mary at 7 a.m. He's beating you, Petty.
Man, you beat me to the. Well, I don't know. Man, I don't know my times. What time did I start drinking?
We need to go back to the tape. Hey, Daniel, why don't you check in on our guest and make sure you got your times right for us?
I'm sending Dex. No, he told me good 9 Central.
Okay, perfect.
9 Central time.
Now that you're reading it, I believe you.
9 Central. I sent it. Yeah, I'm checking in on it now. The one thing
about the time zones you gave him as well. He's probably
the one thing about Dex is he does apparently a Saturday morning workout class. So he had a workout session from 8 to 9 his time, and then from 10 to 11. So we've got him in that. We're going to get him within this hour. So he may, look, Dex, he's probably got some lady like, hey, will you show me an extra little ab workout?
Hell, like last week, our guest last week on there had girls like, clamoring for him in the comments. I was having to like filter through those to find the real comments. And he's so fine.
Wayne Bacon was getting
Wayne Bacon reeling in. Yeah, he's pulling in the ladies.
What's your Tinder profile?
Yeah. All right.
How do I get on that?
Well, while we're waiting on Dexter, and we expect him here in the next few minutes, I actually just got a beep right there. So, Petty, how about you give me
girl, look out,
a little introduction? Well, before that,
look, man, this man needs no introduction. He's a Rebel legend. He introduced himself to our head coach in one of the most memorable Ole Miss games ever, where he lit up Tennessee's butt. I mean,
I love.
Oh, and speaking of, check out a little bit of this footage we've pulled together for our guys. We bring him in right here.
One of my favorite games.
It's a trick play. It's a touchdown.
Here we go.
Oops. I'm going to replay that probably in a moment. That was what was called the McCluster Fluster, guys.
And this is him taking it back in the pros.
Hot right there, buddy. That speed.
Oh!
All right.
That year, my fantasy team was awesome.
Oh, yeah. I think he's going to be back with us in just a moment,
he's so
guys.
fast, he done ran out already.
He ran out of his chair, dude.
All right. He ran that touchdown one more time right there. His little PTSD. All right, I got you back in. Dexter, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How you guys doing?
Dex, man,
Good morning.
You're a man that really needs no introduction to the Rebel Nation. I want, loved you while you were there. Run DMC. Thanks for being on the show, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You guys hear me well? Can you guys see me well? The Wi-Fi good?
Everything's great, man. Yeah, we got a little tiny delay, so if we talk over each other, just hang in there a little bit, but it looks pretty damn good.
Okay,
What? Oh, it's good until you moved it.
Yep. I think we were good until you started moving us around.
That high energy, man. It shut it down.
It'll clear up in a second. We just got to give it a minute.
We'll give him a second to clear up.
Yeah, you had it right there at the beginning, though, Dexter. Just set it back like you had it in the beginning, and we'll be good to roll. Finish pouring my cocktail while he gets on here.
I'm not sure just the tip means what it used to. No.
We had someone in the comments.
The girls that taught me into it were kind of cute. I never frosted my.
Dex is faster than his Wi-Fi. That's true.
Yeah. All right.
You outrun your Wi-Fi, Dexter.
You're good.
Let's do it. How y'all doing?
Doing well. Dex, man, now I expect a little bit better internet connection because from my understanding from the guys at the Rebel Grove that went to school with you, you were doing online classes before online classes were a thing.
Yeah,
They said you got so popular your senior.
I just finished the title boxing class. I actually instructed it as well as participated. So I'm moving and grooving, baby. Run DMC, literally.
Yes, sir.
I love it.
Yeah.
Did you really have to get told to quit coming to class your senior year and have to do an online class in 09 because it got so distracting?
I don't know about that right there, but yeah.
So now the legends are just okay.
Yeah, something like that, man. I would come in and things would just get out of hand. I would have to sign some things, so I had to go home and do online class. I didn't complain though. I loved it. I loved every moment. I was in my PJs. I was drinking my Kool-Aid, and I was having a good time. But getting my work done, nonetheless.
We do a Saturday morning cocktail on the show.
Oh yeah.
You said you working out. I guess you're doing. I'm doing I'm a Rebel, so I got my Bloody Mary. I guess you're probably doing a pre-workout shake.
You know what? I'm doing straight Run DMC juice. I run on my own juice, baby. I need to market that, man. I need to market that.
Oh, that's right.
I was up at 1:30 this morning in my garage, going through some boxing things, getting my mind together, meditating. So I have a lot of energy, man. So I might need to bottle it up and sell it somewhere, man. For real.
Is that what you're doing now? You're teaching boxing classes?
Yes, no. So no, I'm in Tennessee now. So I have my own training business. Goes by McCluster Fit. I've been doing it for about a year and a half now. So I have. I do speed, agility, footwork, field work with all athletes, ranging from 4 all the way to adulthood.
Well, on that note,
down here, running back.
let me ask you something.
Yes.
How does this program work on a 40-year-old fat guy?
Oh man, all you gotta do is show up, and the rest is history. Just show up. We're gonna start where you start at, where you need to start, and we're gonna keep building, and we're gonna gradually have fun while we're doing it, to where you're gonna be having so much fun that you're not realizing that I'm kicking your butt.
Oh man, no, I'll tell you. I know where I'm going to be starting. My perfect distance is couch to refrigerator. Like anywhere in between there, I'm solid. I'm running at full speed. Once I get past the refrigerator, though, I start slowing down a little bit.
Well, at least you're being active. At least you're keeping active some type of way.
That's right.
Hey, Dex, it seems like
Yes,
Ole Miss now more than ever with Lane in the charge is reaching out to former players and bringing them back in the fold. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, most definitely. But I mean, I think it's a good thing because those guys, need that energy. They see each other every day. They might see us on pictures, might hear stories, but to bring the guys back, to kind of see them, to meet them, it kind of energizes those players to go out there and just do what they do, but even better, man. So I think I love it for the culture, man. Just seeing the older guys come in, watching the newer guys, and just seeing how the times have changed, man. And Ole Miss is looking good, man. I was in the tunnel that had so many lights in there, man. I was ready to throw on some equipment and play myself, man. It was
Please,
showtime, man. It was nice.
We'll take you, buddy. We'll take you right back right now, man.
Hey,
Did Lane?
Listen, I can still fit in. I don't know. Once I start running, they might know who I am. But I mean, I'm still a buck 165. I played my whole career at 165 pounds, baby.
That's
All
amazing.
Hard, man.
And that's amazing too, especially after seeing the highlights we showed at the beginning of this game. That kick return, especially.
I'm mad I missed it, man. I missed my Wi-Fi. I need to find the Wi-Fi.
We'll send it back to you. My favorite picture though was when you were at the Titans in that final year. You were at the Titans. You were in the backfield with Derrick Henry, and that was just like you said. You played your whole career at 160 like a beast, man.
Right.
Did Lane?
It's crazy. Like he's already a giant, right? So I'm pretty sure that picture is probably laughable because he's a big guy. I'm a smaller guy. But hey, can you imagine though? I know things didn't shake out how it shook out, but it shook out how it's supposed to. But can you imagine thunder and lightning like that, and this guy can run just like I can run, and I'm shifted, man? It would have been.
I thought it was going to be. I was hoping it was going to. Yeah, I thought it was going to be dangerous, man. Because like you said, you were so shifty and quick, man. That off pace set, you were talking about coming back to Ole Miss. Did Lane ask you why you abused him so bad that day in Oxford?
No. The thing about it is, I never really got close enough to, actually talk to him. So I kind of sat back and observed. When we were in the locker room, the team was pumped up. I let them have their moment. But I know for sure once we do sit down, he might have a couple questions for me, and I'm going to let him know that, hey, I appreciate everything you guys have done for me. Y'all got me to that next level, so thank you. But I'm glad you're on the winning team now. Ole Miss, baby.
That's right, Dex, man. That day, I mean, it's still when Ole Miss fans talk about legendary games, that's now one of them, man. You you broke the rushing record that day. The play where you made two Tennessee guys tackle each other right on the sideline.
That was awesome, man.
Trust me.
And it's almost like you couldn't that play that you just mentioned when they hit each other. I had no idea the guy was behind me, but it's all about timing and with footwork like this and just the never quit attitude. I guess something's bound to happen if you just keep working, man.
Well, while we're on Tennessee, let me ask you two quick questions really quick. First, we've got a listener or viewer here that's asking where in Tennessee. I know this person's in Nashville. Where are you located in case they're wanting to try to get some of your services?
I'm located in Brentwood, Tennessee, probably about 15, 20 minutes outside of Nashville.
Right there,
so I'm
local.
Close. And listen, I also travel, man. Dexter's mobile lab. I'm on the way. I didn't copyright that.
I love it.
Trouble, so don't put that anywhere. But that's just my mindset. So anywhere there's work to be done, I'm on the way.
Well, awesome. Well, my second question that gets on the Tennessee was, when you think about that picture with you standing beside Derrick, what strikes me is neither one of you are the typical sized running back. I bet through most of your life, people are like, oh, you're too small. And people are tearing Derrick, man, y'all are too big. That's got to be the most inspirational picture for people who are not the classic size for a running back.
And you know what? Just with you saying that and think about that, that's pretty awesome, man. I never thought about it that way. But if you really look at it, like you said, I was never the prototypical running back. I was too small. I couldn't do it. But I was a running back. D-Hen, he's a big guy, bigger than some of the offensive linemen out there, running like Usain Bolt out there, man. I think it was 22 miles an hour, 21, something like that, man. That's a big guy moving. So it just goes to show if you're a football player and if you're born or destined to do something, you can do it. Ignore the outside noise and go for it.
Man, I believe that. And I think that you just inspired a Twitter meme that we're going to put out this week that has something inspirational to that effect. So keep your eye out for it, Dexter. That's a great idea. I love that.
Make sure you send that to me, tag me, man, so I can repost it. You know, I love
Oh, we will do, buddy. As long as you follow, you had to approve our follow request.
Yeah,
you got that private Twitter out there.
See, my bad. I'll go in there and do that right after this, man. You know, I'm a representative.
That's right. Gives us a little bit of legitimacy. We appreciate that. Got celebs on there, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, as an Alabama fan, I definitely appreciated what you did against Tennessee, and I hope those guys had ankle insurance because you sure did break a lot of those that day. But
man, right. I mean, I'm just out there moving and grooving. I love the game so much, and the way I approach the game, I just go for it, man. I mean, I'm not worried about what the defense is doing. Of course, I have to know what I need to do on the passing plays, blocking plays, whatever it may be. But I'm just out there playing because I trust in myself. I trust the guys around me, and I want them to know that, man. Anytime that I'm out there, y'all can count on me.
Well, as a fast guy, that you just struck up a question for me. You know, I've never been a fast guy. You know, I was more of a technique guy. You know, paying attention to my, what I could do in this body. But how long did it take you from when you went to high school? And the word playing fast or things slowing down is one that a lot of the pundits use a lot of times. And I think what they mean by that is once you know what you're doing, you're not thinking about what you're supposed to do. You're just reacting and playing football. And that's when you get your best. About how long did that take you from high school to college to make that transition?
To be honest, so coming into Ole Miss, Coach Ogeron and Hugh Freed, they were talking to me and saying, "Hey, we have our running back. We got Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis. If you come in, compete at a slot receiver to be a slot receiver, right?" So I'm like, you know what? I know what I'm capable of. I want to go compete. I don't want to go and sit. I want to play. So I think that it never really fazed me.
Okay.
I've always prided myself for going out there, and I don't care what it is, who it is. I'm going to show up and I'm going to show out, and that was my mindset. But I think to answer your question a little better, I would say that my junior year, the South Carolina game, we were getting beat. Coach put me in for the last 5 minutes of the game.
Should have given you the ball in the first quarter.
What's that?
Should have given you the damn ball in the first quarter, and we'd have won that game.
Amen. And we look. And I just saw Hugh Freeze. Not Hugh Freeze. I apologize. I just saw Houston Nutt. I was inducted into the Cotton Bowl Hall of Fame a few months ago. So I saw him and we talked about it, and he said the same thing. He said, hey, DMC, man, I should have got you the ball earlier. I said, I understand, but hey, it still worked out in our favor.
You look, I'm a fan though. I'm not over that shit. We were number 4 in the country. We were like, man, that was going to be no. And then we almost came. We almost came back giving you the ball in the last 5 minutes of the game. I'm like, holy crap, if we do this the whole game, it's not even close.
And so you remember that day. You remember that day.
Oh, how do I forget it? Our lineman made the dumb comment after it, like, hey, man, the pressure's off now. I'm like, no, it's not. We want that pressure.
Right, no, it's not. Right. And the guy, in advance, I apologize if you hear the music in the background. I'm so sorry.
No problem.
I make sure
you're good.
For you guys. And again, I apologize if it's too much.
No, that's great. And look, I don't care if there's a bulldozer running in the back. If we get you on the show, we're very happy about it.
Yeah, we're just happy to have you, brother.
Yeah.
What was that?
But yeah, I think that game right there, because I wanted that was my opportunity, because I showed what I can do early, but had some injuries. Sophomore year, just couldn't find that full niche. But that game right there, I knew it was my opportunity, and I was gonna run that thing like it was my last time running the ball. And I kid you not, he came to me that next week. We had Arkansas. And he said, it might have been a week after that. I can't remember. But he said, Dex, I'm going to get you the ball. And I'm like, okay, whatever. You've been saying that. And then once he gave me the ball, he never stopped. So I'm all good with that.
Well, we got a question from one of our viewers that popped up real quick right here. What was your favorite Egg Bowl?
My favorite Egg Bowl, the ones we won. I
love it.
I think it might have been 2008, maybe. I can't remember. We played them down at Ole Miss. I scored one on the Wild Rebel. I think I faked it. Brandon Bolden was at the Wild Rebel.
That's right.
Shout out to Brandon Bolden doing his thing in the NFL.
Still playing in the NFL.
Okay. Yep. Yes. So he gave me a handoff to the right side, and I took it down the right sideline, dove it in, and celebrated. So that was probably my best one, man. Just seeing the guys, the John Jarrett, the Parade Jarrett, picking the trophy up, holding it, man. It was nothing like it. But my last year, they kind of kicked our butt, and I still hate that.
We broke the sack record, but didn't let them score that day, man. That was a beatdown that day.
Yeah, hands down.
Oh man, Brandon Bolden, you brought him up. Any good Houston Nut? Give me a good Houston Nut story, Dexter, for all the Ole Miss fans out there that want to hear a funny. Because, dude, you played for the two craziest coaches at Ole Miss. You went from Orgeron to Nut.
No kidding.
Yeah, so going from Orgeron to that. So Coach O, he's a high energy guy like myself, right? So it'll be 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. He'll be, hey, how's Mama and Papa doing? You good? I'm like, man, how does this dude? It's 5 o'clock in the morning. He got so much energy, but he knows how to get his players to believe. Same with Houston, but when Houston got there, his brother Danny Nutt, he was the one that really motivated him to put me at running back because I was doing some off-season training inside the IPF, the inside practice facility, and I was doing some running. And Coach Danny Nutt, his brother, came to me and was like, "Hey, Cluss," that's what he called me, Cluss. I said, "What's up, Coach?" He was like, "Have you ever played running back?" And I looked at him and smiled and said, "All my life." And he said, "I'm gonna go talk to Houston." So he talked to Houston. You know, Coach Nutt, he walks with that kind of that gimp, that swag walk, right? So he's giving over to me, giving over. He said, "Hey, Dex, man, my brother said, and my brother, when he said to the players special, I gotta believe him, man. So I'm gonna give you a shot at this running back thing, and just don't let me down." And I don't think I did. So I don't think I did. So
no,
Danny Nutt for seeing what everybody should have been seeing in the first place.
What they should have seen it after the McCluster fluster against Memphis, man. When Hugh Freeze called it.
Yeah, I know, right? I don't know. I think like we said earlier, I'm not the prototypical running back. So like when they see a guy like me doing that, they're like, no, he's not supposed to be doing that.
That's not supposed to.
And here's the McCluster fluster everybody wants to see.
There it is. Yes. Oh yeah. And my swag level was on 0. Yeah.
Hey, Dexter,
but hey,
you brought up.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, go.
So I was gonna say, so on that McCluster fluster, if you go back and watch it later on to the fans or whoever's listening right now, watch that. So my swag is on 0, right? I knew that for a fact, right? But I scored the touchdown. I'm excited. I'm ready to celebrate. I jumped up to actually, I think somebody caught me or I either chest bumped somebody. I can't remember. But I fell down on my butt in the end zone. I fell down on my butt in the end zone. And I was so embarrassed, but I played it off, got up, and kept celebrating. But now that I look back on it, I said, come on, Dex, stay on your feet, man. Be cool about it. Let's go.
Dude, I know the first time I ever scored a touchdown in like Pee Wee football, I didn't know what to do when I got in the end zone. I was like, oh man, I'm in the end zone. I just stuck my hand up like this and then got like tackled down to the ground. It was very not graceful.
Hey, sometimes I've had a touchdown celebration in my head. I practiced it at night. My Florida jump with those shoulders, I used to always do that one, right? So I would score the touchdown. And when I scored a touchdown, I forgot everything I was supposed to do. So I was kind of
you're so damn excited. Yeah.
You're so excited about the situation. You jump in, you do it. But then when you get there, it's like, oh, I'm here. What do I do now? And it's like, man, I practiced this all night for nothing, man. But nonetheless, we got the 6.
Look, you brought up Brandon Bolden, and Nutt had a bunch of funny quirks, like you kind of said. He was different. Were you ever close to being on the land of the Untrustables?
The land of the Untrustables. I'm not sure where you.
Remember, he had that bulletin. He had a bulletin board.
The Circle of Trust or something like that, right?
No, the Circle of Trust. That's what it is. I said it wrong. I've had too many Bloody Marys.
Oh,
were you
yeah,
ever
right? Yeah. I wish I could have me a Bloody Mary right now. It's the weekend. It's Saturday, but nonetheless.
Well,
but,
what is your?
I think I was. Well, I can say this story. Can I say this story? I don't think I told anybody this story but my parents and my close friends. Is it cool to go ahead and share?
Yes. Bring it. We love. Hey, Dex. Here, you're in a safe space.
No holds barred.
Yeah,
no rules.
And nonetheless, it was a long time ago. It's all good. So the last Cotton Bowl, right? We played in. We went down to Dallas again, right? So last Cotton Bowl, we have a curfew at night, right? We have to be in a certain time, whatever. Cool, right? So me and I won't say my teammate's name, but we actually were like, man, you know what? We're gonna stay out. And don't get me wrong, I've always been a great guy. I'm not the type of guy to do this. I'm like, man, it's the Cotton Bowl. I'm young. This is my last college game. I'm going to enjoy myself, right? So we stayed out past curfew, right? So now it comes time to sneak back in for curfew, and they got the guy sitting in the chair in the little yellow suit trying to see who's in, who's late, whatever, right? So we're like, okay, we can't get through the front door. But we saw the back door open, and I hope he hears this, and he'll laugh about it later. We'll talk about it later. But back door of the kitchen's open. We sneak through the kitchen. Now we're in the lobby. The guy's back is turned from us. They're supposed to be watching the door, watching the elevators. So me and my guy, we're crawling on the ground, trying not to get noticed. It was like a movie, right? We get to the elevator. Bing! He turns around. He sees us. At that moment, we're caught, right? So the next morning, Coach Nutt, he called me and this guy, because we were both captains on the team, called me and him to the room. And he said, hey guys, come on. You can't have this, guys. Come on. You are my leaders. You're my leaders, you know. But me and my teammate, we're like, man, listen, this is our senior year, and we're one of the key elements of this team. Humbly speaking, he's not gonna sit us. But he was like, I'm not gonna sit you guys, but I should. But I'm not gonna sit you guys. But hey, come on, man, you're our leader. So that was my almost untrustable moment when I just say, you know what, this is my last go around. I'm gonna do something out of the norm, and I'm gonna stay out and have fun. And we won, though. I had a good game.
You had a great game.
I mean, it worked out.
And you somehow stayed in the circle of trust.
Yes. It was. He knew that I'm not that type of guy. I'm very trustworthy, but you know, at the end of the day, I'm a freaking. I was a 17-year-old kid, man.
Every now and then you just got to drink the fishbowl margarita.
One curfew wasn't gonna hurt.
What's your Saturday morning cocktail when you break away from the workout, Dex?
Cocktail today. You know what? I'm gonna go a little bit on the dark side. So I'm gonna have it might sound funny. So a Hennessy with lemonade.
Hennessy with lemonade.
Yes, it'll take you through the day. You won't feel horrible. You'll feel like you're on cloud nine, ready to move, ready to dance. And move,
that's a lot like what I'm doing right here. I take this Steagle Rattler and I pour a shot of vodka in it.
If you remember the commercial, don't text and drive. Run DMC said that. Don't text and drive.
Don't somebody from the message board.
Get an Uber.
Someone from the message board said, "Hey, don't ask him about texting and driving. Make sure we get that PSA out there."
Don't text and drive. And you know what? I still get crap about that. On YouTube, it's a guy that did like a parody of. He had some fake mop dreads on. Had some tights on. He's badly out of shape, I would like to add. And but he made it funny, a joke, whatever. So it's cool, man. My daughters, they laugh at me like, "Daddy, did you really something like that?" I said, "Listen, you had to be there. You had to be there."
You made it when people are parodying you.
We had another Rebel fan that said that you probably know this guy if I say this. He said, ask Dex why he still dresses like Jodeci, and B, will he sing you a slow jam?
Not Jodeci, man. Not Jodeci.
Hey, well, listen, I can answer the first question, but I can't sing right now like I usually do because, I'm always concert ready. If DMC can do it, he's going to do it. But I've been yelling. I've been teaching the class. That would not work. But I don't think I still dress like Jodeci, man, but I take my shirt off every now and then, just kind of show the hard work a little bit, But other than that, I keep it covered up for the wife, she'll get on my head if I don't keep it clean.
That's right.
I want to know who asked that question. Who was that?
Josh Taylor. You remember him?
Yes, man. Tell him I said what's up. Josh, shout out to you, bro.
That's awesome.
Josh just lit up. Got to give him a shout out. He's got Grey Dog Taco in Oxford taco stand. If you're in Oxford today, go see Josh, man. Josh is kind of the reason.
Down there, man. I forgot something, man.
Yeah, hey, next time you're down there, go see Josh at Grey Dog Taco. He's the reason we got through to Poe and now to you. And man, it's just been awesome getting to catch up with some of the guys that
getting to meet your idols, right, Fetty? That's awesome.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys. Like I said, man, I know it was crunch time today, had a lot to do, but I'm like, you know what? Anytime I can help out my brothers, I'm on the way, baby.
Man, man.
Well, man, we've got a few staple questions we like to ask the guys before we get out of here. Michael's got one. I think Justin's got one, and then we'll let you give a quick take on Ole Miss A&M before you go.
I'll go last because mine's short, so you guys take off.
I actually have a couple of questions in my life.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
One's about you directly. We mentioned earlier the Tennessee game. Obviously one of your best. Love that game. I also love the game against LSU where you threw your first touchdown pass ever. Between those two games, which game meant the most to you?
Which game meant the most to me? I would definitely say the LSU game, and I'll tell you why. So everybody knew about the Wild Rebel when I got in. I was at the quarterback. 9 times out of 10, I wasn't passing the ball. I was running. But when I passed it, I think I went 0 for 5 with 2 interceptions. But on the interceptions, I made sure I was the one that made the tackle because I was so.
Hey, look, I'm a former quarterback. I call that 2 out of 5. You had 2 completions.
2. Okay, well, I didn't even remember the last one. That's how.
No, I'm calling the interceptions completions.
Right, but going to
former quarterback
again. So we had to play all week. I don't know why Coach trusted me, but again, talking about the trust circle, he trusted me, right? So I was having a good game running the ball, and we knew that if we can get the defense to just suck up as soon as I get the ball, Shea Hodge would be wide open and I can punt him the ball, right? So I was just so nervous, listen, just get the ball to him. You throw a football. You've been throwing a football your whole life. just get the ball to him and let's score this touchdown. And it worked out how we planned it. I got the handoff on the counter step. They sucked up the defense. I threw it to Shea, almost a perfect pass. He caught it. And next thing you know, I was calling my parents back home. I was calling my friends, like, did y'all see that? I might be on ESPN. I threw a touchdown, baby. So the one that I threw really counted. So that LSU game was the best, I would have to say.
Awesome.
Nice.
So Ole Miss has seen a coaching carousel with brief runs of success. What's different under Lane Kiffin that probably was missing from the past, and what direction do you see the program going under him?
I would say he's a little more hip, a little more relatable to those guys, especially how times change now, because you have coaches that are great coaches, and I played under a lot of great coaches. We talked about him for a little bit today, but he's the cool, the hip guy, the guy that guys want to run through a wall for because they know that he cares about them. And again, nothing to take away from the coach, but I think the Lane train, man, he has a way to get his guys to believe because they can relate. He's more relatable, I believe, and he keeps staying a little open, and he's fearless, man. I don't know how many more fourth downs we're gonna go for this year, but I'm loving it.
Yeah, I am too, man. I love it.
And when you have a coach like that, that's willing to, I trust y'all. We're gonna go out on the edge. Let's do it. You gotta love it. So I think that's what he's willing to take risks that a lot of coaches may not want to take. So I think that wraps him up in a lump sum.
Awesome.
Well, I got one more question. It's not for me. It's for my nephew. I tried so hard to get him to be an Alabama fan, but he's a huge Ole Miss fan, huge fan of yours, and he wanted me to ask you this. My nephew Braden wants to know, what was your favorite moment playing for the Rebels?
My favorite moment playing for the Rebels. Man, I would have to say, man, I'll do two of them. I'll do one football-wise of a play, and I'll do the other one. So the first one I'll do is, but the first time I heard the "Are you ready?" chant, right? I've heard a lot about it, but just to hear the crowd say it, I mean, it's like no other. It kind of brings me back to my first NFL game, walking out the tunnel and hearing the crowd of Arrowhead going crazy. It's something that you really can't explain. It motivates you, it fuels you, gives you that fire. So I would definitely say the "Are you ready?" chant. And my favorite moment as a player at Ole Miss was my final Cotton Bowl. When I stood up in front of the team, I asked Coach and I talked to him, and I told him, I said, "Hey, I'm gonna run so hard that you guys are gonna have to carry me off the field." And those were my exact words. Yeah. And I meant what I said, but I didn't know that it was gonna actually happen like that, but it did. So I would say that game right there alone, because it was just something about it. Everything worked out. Everything was on our side, man. And I was running with the wind. And I had a lot of teammates around me that made it happen. Shout out to everybody that blocked for me. Shout out to everybody that supported me, man. We was always in that thing together. But that Tennessee game was the one I think that got me drafted so high in the NFL. So thank you, Tennessee. And now I'm here in Tennessee.
Yes,
now.
I appreciate that.
But hey, it is what it is. They
well, on that "Are you ready?" chant, there's a damn good chance that the guy that started that was either right here on the podcast, Mr. Petty, or his father, because they're notorious for that.
Dex, I'm a notorious I'm the guy that'll stand up, and I've got a little bit of a loud voice, and I'll let a booming "Are you ready?" out from the crowd.
Well, let me hear your best "Are you ready?" And I'll do my best to bring it on home. Let's go.
Are you ready? Hell yeah!
Yeah. Damn right. Howdy, toddy, got some mighty. Who the hell are we? Hey, flam, flam, bam, bam. Ole Miss, by damn.
All right.
Hell yeah!
I love that. Love that.
Hell yeah! Just got a damn hottie toddy out of Dexter McCluster. Run DMC.
It's showtime, baby. It's showtime, baby.
We
about to get him.
I'm surprised Petty didn't just pass out right there.
I almost did it with you, but I didn't want to mess up the beautiful vocal cords of one of the best running backs to ever step foot.
It doesn't matter if you're on the same accord on that chant. If you're all rocking and rolling, man, it'll come together at the end. It's okay.
Dex, man, man, it's hard. I don't want to. We usually ask what that the oh shit player Michael usually asks, but man, that's kind of a showstopper right there. Hell.
Yeah, that's me. No, that was the killer right there. I'm going to give it to you. But I do ask this question to most of our guests, and it's because none of us three on here ever got to go to college level or to the NFL level. But we all had a moment in our high school, our high school career where you ran up against somebody and you're like, all right, I found my ceiling. You know what I mean? This dude's too much for me right here. Did you ever run up against a player at any level that made you say, damn?
Let's see. Yes. Hands down. So, my first playoff game against Ed Reed. Ed Reed, those guys with the Ravens. Linebacker Ray Lewis, man. So I'm a 20.
Lord.
I just turned 21 years old, right? So in the NFL, right? And so we're out there. It's freezing cold. I'm a Florida boy. Even though I was in Mississippi for 4 years, it was freezing that day, right? And so I'm out there shivering. And Matt Castle shot at him, but he set me up on that play. But I was out in the flats, and he threw it to me. And Ed Reed made a beeline to me, and he hit me so hard that my body kind of created almost an S. You can probably see it online, right? Especially when they slow motion it. So I ran to the sideline, and I know the camera was going to be in my face on me, so I didn't want to move my lips, but I had to communicate with the coach that I was pretty jacked up, right? So I said, hey, coach, without moving my mouth. And he said, what's up? I said, I can't feel my chest. And he said, you still want to play? And I said, yeah, just get me to halftime. Long story short, they shot me up with some Novocaine. It numbed me up. I finished the season. I finished the game. But then shortly after that, I got another handoff. And I don't know what made me do it. Ray Lewis was right there. And I said, you know what? I'm going to try to drop the bucket on him. And when I tried to drop the bucket on him, listen, the ball went one way, and I went the other. So he threw me out on the sideline. So that was the game.
Oh, my God.
There's some grown men out there in this world. So I got to send this picture at home. I'll send it to you guys later. Famous picture
Please.
of me holding the ball. I'm getting folded up by Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, and the other defensive end. What was his name? Was it Tucker? I'm not sure if it was Tucker or not. But they're folding me up like a lawn chair. But I tell my daughter's like, Dad, why did you keep this? Like, you're getting folded up. And I said, listen, I played with some greats. So I'm going to keep this picture, and I'm going to take this with me. And I'm going to
absolutely.
I got folded up by
I'd brag about it, too.
All right, well, I'll tell you something. I saw those dudes on TV, and I said, damn, so you nailed some pretty good ones right there. We've had the likes in that question. We've had, like, T.J. Watt come up. We just got Ed Reed. You know, we get some really good answers on that one, so that's why we always like to ask you guys that.
Man, so then after the game, Ed Reed had the nerve to come over to me and say, hey, young fella. And I said, what's up, man? So I'm nervous, right? I'm like, listen, I've watched you guys. Like, I feel like a little boy, which at the time, I guess I was, right? And he was like, man, they should have gave you the ball more. We studied for you all week. They didn't give you the ball more. And I said, yeah, because you lit me up, and Ray Lewis made me fumble. So I'm pretty sure they kind of X-nayed out of that program.
Yeah. Hey, next time, focus on somebody else, please.
Yeah, y'all changed the game plan.
Yeah, so that game plan didn't work out. But that was my kind of welcome to the NFL. It happened at the end of the season, though. But I think it was much needed because that showed me that, hey, there's going to be a lot more games like that. I'm going to be a lot more people like that. So I got to step my game up and continue to be fearless.
We've got another little question that popped up on the bottom right here. I better know who this came from. That's the guy sitting in the middle down there at the bottom. What was your relationship like with Jostin Fowler when you two were together on the Titans?
Can you say that one more time?
Jostin Fowler. You remember that guy?
Say my relationship. I mean, we were close. We're definitely close, but I mean, not as close as you know, probably with other teammates or other players I had, but not as close. But I know him. We got to send you a clip
we
from
had
our
Justin
interview.
on the show.
We had him on one of our first shows that we did here, and there is a clip that really hasn't slipped out to the internet yet that's very, very good. We're going to send it to you after the show because it's awesome. You'll like it.
Please do. Please do. And I have to ask real fast. I'm not trying to cut you short. What time do you got? What time do you have?
It's
10:36 right now. Eastern,
9:36
your time.
Oh, perfect. Okay, let's go. Let's rock it.
You go. What time's your next workout session? Is it at 10?
10 o'clock. I'm all good.
All right, good deal. Excellent. Excellent. Well, it seems like they got a few more questions for you, so I'll let them roll.
Okay.
No, yeah, Jostin came on. I know it's probably hard for you to keep up with all the craziness that goes on in the SEC, but some player for Alabama.
Hold on. Time out. I take that back. Are you talking about fullback, Alabama,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm tripping. My bad, man. That's my guy, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
The punching bag's already getting to me, man. Yeah.
I understand.
We've been taking too many to the head, man.
No. I still got everything working correctly now.
Well, you were asking.
Yeah.
You asked if this was a safe space. Trust me, Joustin broke all the mold for safe space on this show in the very first week because we were talking.
I think so. Does he still have the 2 gold teeth? I think he took them out.
Yeah, I don't think he had the gold teeth.
He's a family man now, so he took him out.
Yeah, he's family.
Last time I talked to him, we talked pretty often, but yeah.
He was actually at his kid's maybe Pee Wee football game when we interviewed him. He was out on the field.
Yeah, he may have referenced.
Where is he? Is he back? Is he in Alabama now?
He's in Mobile.
Oh, Mobile. Okay.
So, man, that leads a good question. He brought up something. Saban, one of Saban's players let out that Saban likes to still use D's nuts jokes in 2020, which is 27 years dated. So
He took a lot of heat about it.
We asked Joustin what was the craziest thing Saban or a player ever said to him, and Joustin took it a step further and said something about, well, Coach said one day we were playing so bad my pecker don't work no more, and I ain't getting no love at home, and man, we lost it. So you played,
and look, and it's crazy because like just looking at him, Saban, you wouldn't think that he had a joking side, but he looks so serious all the time, right?
He does.
Looks so dedicated what he does. But I mean, I guess you'll be surprised, man. So hey, next time I see Saban, or if I ever see him, I'm gonna say, "Hey, coach, you seen these?"
Please record that. We need to see that.
Oh man, love that.
Hey, well, you played for Nutt and Ordron? You had to hear something crazy like that on the field. What's the craziest thing you ever heard on the field?
To be honest, man, I really don't. I don't think I have. I don't think so. With Coach Orgeron, you just didn't know what to expect from him. You
didn't even know what he was saying, did you?
See a shirt being ripped off, so you just expect that with him. But I don't think I had one of those moments.
Did Ordron?
Wait a minute. Since we're here, since
something coming in there.
I got time. I don't know if you guys remember Matt Lubick. He was the receiver coach in 2006 when I first got to Ole Miss, right? Mm-hmm. So speaking of that, I forgot what game it was. I can't remember, but Mike Wallace had caught a long, deep pass and scored a touchdown, right? But I was on the opposite side at receiver, and of course the running back kicked in. I was not on the ball when I should have been. They called it back, right? So I get to the sideline. The phone's already ringing, so I know it's Coach Lubick from the box. And he chewed me out. Hey, you're not going to get back in the game. So I felt so little that game. I was like, oh, my God, I messed it up, man. So, like, that's probably the craziest moment I've had as far as, like, just ever being down on myself in the moment because, I mean, I made a mistake, but he made me pay for it. But then he called me in the office the next day. It's no hard feelings, but as a young kid, 17 years old, it's like, oh, man, I called my dad that game. I'm on the bus and like, man, I really messed up. Like, I feel horrible. And, a father, he's gonna make sure you're okay. Hey, you're good. It happens to the best of them. You're gonna look back at this moment, and nobody's ever gonna remember it. But that moment, I remember for a long time. But I mean, it is what it is. It was a mistake, and it happened. So that was one of the.
Always remember the mistakes
I've ever been down on myself on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you understand everything Orgeron was saying to you, or did you just kind of go with it?
No. What you do with Coach Orgeron, what you do with him, you don't look in the eyes, you look at the mouth. Right? You try to figure out the first and the last thing he said, and kind of freestyle the middle to kind of put it together. So he might say, "Hey Dex, about this play, and then we're gonna go to the right side." Okay, all right, cool. So, yeah, all right, I know the play's going to the right side. All right, cool. But I mean, once you stay around him long enough, you'll kind of start to understand it and a little better. But when he gets mad, you don't hear a word. All you see is spit flying and his face turning red. So you know to stay out the way.
Well, DMC, I am new to the Ole Miss Rebels fan club. I'm married in, basically. My wife graduated from Ole Miss. Her family, a lot of them played there, just like a really good family. Like, it's awesome to be a part of the Ole Miss to get that kind of tradition with people that know about it. So I'm new to the game. I wasn't around when you were being recruited, and you mentioned earlier that Houston Nutt's brother had maybe mentioned bringing you to running back. Were you recruited at a different position?
Yeah, I was brought in as a receiver. And the reason I, like I said earlier, the reason I took that opportunity, I'm glad I did because it helped me out for the longevity and the versatility as far as me lasting in the NFL, the 7 years that I did.
Sure.
Being able to go from receiver to running back and whatever, not miss a beat. But I was a competitor. I've always been the ultimate competitor. if you knock me down, I guarantee it, I'm going to come and I'm coming for you with everything that I got. So I wanted to come compete. They said receiver. So I said, you know what? I'm going to be the best receiver I can be. I was making plays in camp, and I earned that spot, right? But then I think around the 5th or 6th game of the season, I got season-ending injury, hit on the opening kick return at Ole Miss against Vanderbilt. I was actually knocked out. I don't know if you remember, I was knocked out completely.
I do. No, broke your collarbone, man. Hit you on that sideline, dude. That was one of the hardest damn licks.
Yeah. So the collarbone didn't actually break. What they said it stretched out my nerves so much. So I didn't realize that I had no function in my left arm until I actually left the hospital. So I stayed there overnight because I blacked out and then, woke back up. So they wanted to kind of monitor, make sure everything was cool. So I'm actually at Kennard Hall doing my studying, right? And I went to reach for the mouse with my left hand, and it was dead, like completely. I couldn't move it, right? So I'm panicking. I called our strength staff, but I called our trainers and was like, hey, my arm's not moving. I don't know what's going on. So I can literally pick my arm up and drop it and not hold it at all. So I went through some depression. A lot of people don't know that, but my wife and maybe some close friends. But I was in college, like, again, a young kid, not knowing if my career's over. I can't move my arm. Is this going to be like this for the rest of my life? So I started going to treatment, and it wasn't nothing where I couldn't pick up a piece of paper. That's how out of control I couldn't move my arm at all, right? So I actually stopped going to treatment because I was so down on myself. I would cry at the house, man. Like my wife now, but she was my girlfriend at the time. She would always be in my corner. Hey, you gotta fight through this. You gotta fight through this. Because I almost gave up, man. Like I was like, man, I'm done. But then I started going back to treatment, and things started working. I started getting feeling. I started moving it. Week by week, and it finally came back. So I just look back, and this can be a testimony to guys out there that, when you think things are over for yourself, man, you can't give up, man. You gotta keep fighting, because you'll never know where you could be or where you would be if you would have stopped a long time ago. But if you keep fighting for it and you get there, when you look back, you say, hey, you know what, this thing was worth it. Look where I am now, and I would never have gotten here if I would have gave up back then, man. So yeah,
and look where Vandy is now.
No, look at Dex, man.
I said, and look where Vandy is now.
Yeah.
Now look, Dex.
You came out on top.
Glad, man, Dex. I know a lot of Ole Miss fans remember that and remember that side of this. Don't know that depth of the story, but they remember you getting hurt. And look, buddy, like you said, you've always been questioned because of your size and can he take the hits in the SEC? And that play kind of added to that. So, man, I can't imagine. You just told a side of it that us fans don't realize. You got people out there questioning, can this kid take the hits of the SEC? And oh, my bad. Yeah, it is getting a little wonky. Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Give it a second. Just give it a second. It'll probably come back out. May have lost his audio.
Dang, Cricket Wireless.
Oh, yeah.
All right, he might be able to hear us now, but I don't know if we can hear him yet.
Yeah, basically what I was saying, man, I'm glad.
All right, there he comes in.
Can you hear us? Hey, can you hear us, Dex? Okay.
I hear you, but then it's still go back to being distorted.
Okay. What I was just saying, man, thank you for sharing that side of the story, because I don't think a lot of Ole Miss fans remember you taking that injury in the 160-pound back. A lot of people always question your durability, and nobody knows what you were going through mentally at that time. And for you to come back the way you did amidst all those questions that just kind of added to the questions you always fought anyway, man, I appreciate you sharing that side. Oh, man, we lost him.
Oh, we lost Dexter for a minute. Hopefully we'll get him back here. It looked like a little bit of an internet issue. Oh, bad timing, too, because we were about to close him out and get him out at 10:50. So
yeah, we were about to get him right out of time and get a pick
before his next class. Yeah, but wow, what a great interview, man.
Oh, man, these guys, awesome, man. I don't know what to expect every time we get Poe and Britt and Rudy Griffin and Fowler and all these guys on. But, man, they bring an element every time that kind of just makes me go, crap.
Well, we have to give
that
high energy award to DMC over there, because that dude right there has got it, man. I want to hang out with the dude, to be perfectly honest, and I need him for a trainer because I'm pretty sure he can motivate me to get some of this belly off, right?
Yeah, he out energied my energy drink. So Dwayne Johnson, I need
This dude's on freaking liquid cocaine, and he outdid him.
I need you to pick it up because Run DMC far outperformed this.
Justin Pole Assassin Riley with methamphetamine in a can.
He's going to come at you like a spider monkey. Look, those stories were great. But like I said, that last story, for Ole Miss fans, I remember when he took that hit against Vanderbilt, that, the questions even arise like, hey, can a guy that size make it in the SEC? And not only did he come back, man, he came back and didn't beat those questions. He beat the questions of NFL scouts and drafted. I mean, he got drafted in the second round by Kansas City and became an all-pro NFL running back weighing at 5'9", 160 pounds. So he is the story for anybody out there that says, I can't do it, or the Rudy story. Man, this dude.
Pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing that the guy was on the same backfield as Derrick Henry, with them being at the two extremes of what it takes to run that position. I really didn't really think about that until we were right in the middle of the interview, and that kind of came up. And I believe that is a great incentive for us to put out that inspirational meme this week. So you guys, if you're not following us on Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever, follow us. If you go to weekzerosports.com/links, it'll take you to all of our links, and you can subscribe and do whatever you want to do. But it doesn't look like we're going to get Dexter back, guys. And the last thing I was going to do was play that kickoff return for him that he missed at the beginning of the show and see what he thought about that. Because, look, every kid has imagined running a kickoff back in the NFL, and I just wanted to get a feeling for what that was like. I bet his celebration, this was probably one of the moments where he forgot how to celebrate.
Yeah, he just forgot.
See, because I mean, next to Derrick Henry, it looked like a picture of Bring Your Son to Work Day.
Right. I imagine Dex was going to pick the Rebels, though. So when we asked him for his pick, you think he was going Ole Miss?
Oh, he's going Ole Miss, 100%. 100%. And now that I was going to get all of our picks for that game, we got to close out the Ole Miss Texas A&M game. So let's move into our analysis portion, and then let's give our picks. So Petty, you being the Ole Miss guy, I want to give you the floor here to take off. You're in the big screen, and I'll move us up to normal.
Oh yeah, let's get me off the big screen. I ain't that pretty. I'm pretty. I ain't that pretty.
There you go.
Look, first of all, if you're scoring at home, Daniel Petty has now gotten to do the land shark with Gerald Poe and hottie toddy with Dexter McCluster. I'm done. I'm good.
I want to ask you, how does it feel, man? Because look, we've had Wesley Britt on there, which was an idol of mine when I was in college and stuff like that. But you've been able to see 2 or 3 Ole Miss greats on this show. What does it feel like to be Daniel Petty, to get to interview these people, and how much would it have meant to you if Dan could have seen this?
Oh yeah, that's and I told Michael about this, and I don't know if I really discussed it with Justin. Man, my dad is the reason I love Ole Miss. My dad is the reason I could go to the University of Alabama, the freaking capstone mecca, and still be an Ole Miss fan. And there's been so many moments where I talked with Gerald Poe, and I want to run out and call Pops. Man, Big Dan DP is standing up in somewhere in the sky, smiling on this. He would be so pumped. Like I said last night, he would be so pumped. He was such a huge Gerald Poe fan. He was such a huge Dexter McCluster fan. And to be interviewing these guys, I'm really proud of myself that I don't fan out too much during the interviews. There's a little element of it, but I'm able to keep it. But what's awesome is these guys kind of appreciate that fan out. Poe wants to land shark. Dexter was like, hey, give me your best hottie toddy. So man, in those moments, to get to fan out with one of your, the guys that you loved and cheered for, it's damn cool. Like you Bama guys getting Wesley and Rudy and all those awesome dudes. So it's awesome.
Wayne Bacon, baby, that was a good one for me, just because of the stupid little thing that me and my friend used to do. Be like, oh, way to go Bacon, and toast the bacon strips. Nobody did that. That's dumb. But hey, it's just one of those tiny little memories of being back bored at your house with no money in college. So it's what you may do with what you had.
You used all your Bama cash.
Used all my Bama cash. Domino's gone.
Look, Antoine Petway,
Wild Wings, the bottom of Burke.
Oh, they took that away about halfway through because you could buy beer there.
We were talking about if we ever make the full circle on those little fun things. Like my nickname is Petway because of Antoine Petway. So if we ever get that dude, like those little things like that, you love that. Can you get these guys home?
And I heard you guys talking about something before the show, and before we get back into our Ole Miss analysis, football season's going to end in about 4 weeks, right? 5, 6, somewhere in there. That's going to be the end of it. What are we going to do in the spring? Well, you think about Saturday morning cocktail kickoff. I'm sure you could change that to Saturday morning cocktail tip-off, right? I mean, I don't see any reason why we couldn't talk a little basketball this spring.
Basketball.
You heard it here. All right, so Petty, let's do it. Let's talk about. Bring me your analysis on this Ole Miss Texas A&M game. I've got a few points that I want to bring up as well because I've been looking into this one hard, and it might be in my picks this week.
I've got two sides to my analysis on this.
Okay.
I've got the football side, and then I got the gambling side. The football side is a horrible matchup for Ole Miss.
Absolutely.
A&M's a great running team. Ole Miss struggles against the run. Look, I know Ole Miss's defense has looked better the last couple of weeks, but even in that win against Liberty, they gave up 285 yards rushing, and they didn't have Spiller and Kane.
Grain of salt. Grain of salt on that. A lot of that was in the second half.
Yeah, but a lot was between the 20s. But so it makes me nervous. What's the injury situation at Ole Miss? But on the flip side, Calzada separated his non-throwing shoulder last week. How hurt is that guy?
Yeah.
Look, any shoulder impacts you, and you just heard it from our last guest talking about when you get that shoulder/collarbone injury. Anybody that notices my collarbone sticks out of the top of my shoulder from a skiing accident right here from that exact thing. I don't know how many ligaments were shattered in that. But shoulder, you're off shoulder. I'm a right-hander too, and that impacted every part of my body when that was injured. So I can't see that he won't be 100%. I mean, I can see that he won't be 100%.
Oh, yeah. And if you hit him a few times, look, I know Alabama has Will Anderson, but Ole Miss has actually the leading sack artist in the SEC in Sam Williams. He pops him a few times, and that's a different game. Hey, you wear your finger around, buddy. Sam Williams is the truth.
He'll get you.
But with that said, I also look at gambling side of sports now. I've reverted to the old kid that just gets caught up in the teams and the colors and the rah-rah. You got to look at some numbers because they mean shit when they come out of Vegas.
Sure.
And me and Michael have really dug into this game because Michael will tell you, we have a pick'em league, and I've been on A&M all week. I'll be honest. I've been on it until I started looking at the numbers. Mm-hmm. The line has
you and everybody else in America are on A&M, and I'm going to tell you something. Vegas hates to lose money. If they know something, all right, if they know something and there's a heavy leaning side of the bet, if they don't know anything, usually they'll move the line to compensate. Their goal is to get 50% of the money on either side and walk away with 10% juice in their pocket with no risk, right? However, when they know something about a game and it starts getting lopsided, they tend to not move the lines. So what we've looked at here is a 2.5-point line that is stuck through 75-80% of the money coming on it. And I'm going to tell you another game that looked a lot like that last night, and these idiots talked me into picking freaking Cincinnati when South Florida was exactly the same situation, and I tried to stop it right at the very end, and I ended up taking that point off on Pick'em because of that. I'm going to tell you something, guys. When the money is lopsided and the line does not move to follow that, you have got to be suspicious of what's going on, and this is one of those situations, and that is why I'm taking Ole Miss today.
My heart and go ahead, Justin.
How's Dontario Drummond looking for today?
He dressed out during the week. There is rumblings that all three receivers are going to be back tonight.
Mr. 18 Parlay here is going to listen to us talk basketball.
What do you think? Does that make a difference? Ole Miss's receiving corps stepping on that field, Justin?
Well, absolutely. No, I like what the guys have done. In place of these stars you have at wide receiver, but I mean these guys are game changers. So, yeah, if you have Dontario Drummond, and even if he's 80, 85%, 90%, he's still able to stretch the field against the Texas A&M defense, which A&M does have a problem with teams that can stretch the field. They just haven't played many other than Alabama this year.
I'm going to tell you guys something that's the biggest factor in this game. And I've been talking about this all year, guys, all year, and it's something that we usually don't put a lot of weight into because everybody gets used to playing on the away team stadium or whatever. But for some reason, maybe it's the COVID hiatus and no playing last year, but whatever it is, home field advantage is making a huge impact in games this year. And if you look at Texas A&M in their true road games, much like another team we're going to talk about later, but if you look at Texas A&M in their true road games, they have been putrid. They have been terrible. They have been awful, and I think that's what Vegas knows right now. I think they're going to come into Vaught Hemingway with a bunch of people that have been drinking since 7 a.m., as we can see from one of our fans right here. 7 a.m. till 7 p.m., 12 hours of drinking. That's going to be a rowdy fucking crowd, guys.
Wait, who are you talking about, me?
No, we had a listener a minute ago popped up and said, Bill Simmons in the Grove. Yeah, exactly. What do you think, Petty? I mean, look, you guys have home field advantage. You've got a great offense. Texas A&M's got a mediocre offense, except when they're playing Bama, and they've got a quarterback with a messed up shoulder. All of these signs point to Ole Miss covering this spread.
There's one team that doesn't have dude cheerleaders wearing ice cream man suits that have real cheerleaders. We're going to be in the Grove drinking it down with Bill Simmons, with my boy Allen, with my boy Gerald Poe, Dexter McCluster's jacked. Look, man, no dude cheerleading, loving cult team is going to come into Oxford, Mississippi on game day. Do y'all know what happened the last time game day was in Oxford? We beat the Tide. This ain't the Tide. Katy Perry come in throwing corn dogs, Ole Miss tearing down goalposts. You know what we're going to do today? We're going to send that cult back to Jim James Kool-Aid drinking, white suit wearing dude cheerleading loving, and we're going to kick that Texas A&M ass. The money's there. It's done. Hotty toddy.
Hotty toddy. I'll give you one on that one, man. Well done. Well freaking done. WWF phone ringing right now, trying to get a new wrestler in there. Daniel, you got any steroids in the closet? You could just juice up a little bit and head on up to Atlanta.
He's breaking off into a promo. He's going.
I agree with this guy right here. Yeah. Also, our 18 parlay winner. They suck without Kyle Field. True story. Now, my co-host Daniel has downplayed the home field advantage of Kyle Field all year long.
Sucks.
Oh, well, what you've seen this year is it does not suck. But when they're on the road,
they lost the state.
They're terrible. I'm not saying they're undefeated team. They're not going to win 12 games a year. They're going to win 9. And if they get a big game in Kyle Field and that crowd is rowdy, it's as rowdy as any stadium in the SEC, period.
And, Michael, it goes back to what you were just saying earlier. I agree wholeheartedly with this. Home field advantage matters this year more than
for some reason.
Because, it makes a difference. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what Marvin Constant says. And, look, one thing I didn't call your boy Marvin out on, Justin, and me and Michael kind of bit our tongue on this because we didn't play in the SEC.
Sure.
Marvin played defense. When you're on defense, do you know what happens?
The crowd's good.
The crowd's quiet for the offense, so you're not having to deal with it.
And if they're cheering, they're on your team. So, you're like, when you're on the defense, the crowd is your friend. When you're on offense, the crowd is your enemy. Yeah, and that is very true. And also, when you're a football player, you're trained not to listen to the crowd, that doesn't matter. So if he came out and said that it did matter, come on.
What do you think about that, Justin? Do you agree with that at all? Because that's the one time I had to bite my tongue with Marvin because he's an actual player. But I'm like, dude, you play defense. It's really different from defense to offense.
I think it's also a different era too.
By the way, Bill, I was not pandering in that pick. That is my true analysis. Hotty toddy.
What do you think the era has to do with that? I don't see how the era has to do with it.
I feel like in the stadiums today, there's a lot more energy.
Well, they got the lights. It's like a damn music festival in there now.
Yeah, it's more of a show. There's more to draw the crowd in and get energy flowing through there, especially when you got a stadium full of 100,000 plus or close, which almost every SEC stadium has now. I just feel like the vibe is a lot different.
They don't have let's take a quick correction. They don't have the 100K over at Vaught Hemingway, but what they do have is 70,000 drunk people.
Well, this just in, heard from an Aggie insider, Mr. Tim Ham. Calzada will play, and he said that during the whole week of practice that Calzada looked like his usual underwhelming self.
Usual underwhelming self. Well, at least we won't have any shockers there, but that's good news to have coming in. Anybody don't know who Tim Ham is? He was our guest last week. He covers, he's the beat guy for A&M on Sports Illustrated. He also does the Cowboys, Arkansas Razorbacks, and a few other teams, but his main focus is A&M.
If Calzada goes down, Blake Boast will come in, and he is a walk-on.
Well, okay, so even better for the Rebels.
So, since we're talking about backups and walk-ons, I didn't get to be on the show last week. What is Tim's thoughts on dude cheerleaders?
Well, obviously, Petty, we're not assholes, so we didn't bring that up.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
That was his first episode.
But you bring up a good point. They lost Haynes King, and then Calzada gets hurt. And their next back, they've got one more backup, the kid you just named, but the next backup after that, they moved to tight end in the offseason. So they've literally down to one more quarterback after Calzada.
Yeah. That's where they're at.
And crazy enough, in that goofy 3-2-6, Ole Miss actually gets sacks.
Yeah, well, look, look, if you don't get sacks in the 3-2-6, what the hell are you doing out there? Because look, it is designed to get coverage sacks. That's what the 3-2-6 is all about. How many of your sacks come in the first 3 seconds of the snap? Probably very few because you don't have a lot of people there. So that's what it is. You cover good, you're going to get the sacks, and that is like, you know, we've hammered, right? We've hammered, yeah, absolutely. We've hammered the 3-2-6 a lot because of the style of it does not fit the SEC. However, when you're playing a team that likes to throw the ball around, it's good. It's good. Let's just say it. It's good.
But it doesn't apply to a team like A&M that's
who's going to try to drive it down your throat with Spiller. Yeah.
But you know they can get it to Jalen Weidemeyer, who's the best tight end in the country, and possibly to Anaya Smith, who was very underappreciated, mainly because he doesn't have anybody who can get him the ball.
Sure. Well, how about this, guys? Let's close out. We got a lot of games to cover here because it's not just our Ole Miss podcast, obviously.
Yes, it's the Ole Miss show. Hotty toddy.
I want score picks from each of you before we leave the Ole Miss game. So starting with our resident Ole Miss fanboy / guru, Daniel Petty.
No, let me go last.
No, we want you to kick it off. Okay. Well, come on, Justin, you bring it.
I'll let you go because I'm still kind of formulating.
All right, well, cool. I'll go first. I've actually thought about this game, guys, right?
Michael's actually got one.
I think Ole Miss is going to get into the 40s against Texas A&M today. You know, that's saying a lot against this Texas A&M Aggie defense, but I do think Ole Miss is going to get in the 40s. I think the defense is much improved, okay? I do think the defense is much improved, but that's not going to keep Texas A&M out of the 30s, okay? So I'm looking at like a 41-35, 41-31 type game in this with the Rebels coming out on top. Justin, what do you think?
Well, my main focus right now is up front. How is Ole Miss's offensive line going to do against DeMarvin Leal and that incredible defensive front, that front seven? Texas A&M is probably one of the best in the SEC. These guys can bring it every play. If they're able to protect Matt Corral, I think that their defense is going to have a hard time, against Corral airing it out. Like I said, they haven't played anybody that can stretch the field except for when they played Alabama. And, of course,
we did put up 38 on them, right?
Right. We can put up 38 on them. Yeah. Of course, having players like Jamison Williams and whatnot able to do what they did against them. So they really haven't been tested. I mean, they played Missouri. They played South Carolina. They don't air anything out, So.
Well, look, here's the other thing. One misnomer about that Ole Miss Rebel offense is they're a run-heavy offense. I don't know if anybody's noticed that a lot, but these guys run the ball, and when they're giving it to Snoop Connor, they run it effectively. Jared Ely, occasionally. What's the other guy's name? Parrish or whatever that comes in. He can run the ball pretty good, but for me, I'm a Snoop Connor guy.
A lot of that's dependent on Corral, though, and Corral being a threat. And if he's not a threat with his ankles, that changes that dimension. And, man, Justin brought up a good point that I don't like to think about. Justin, you brought up their defensive line against our offensive line. Ole Miss lost Ben Brown for the season and then lost his backup. Ole Miss last week played a guy they had just moved from defense a week earlier every snap at guard. That's not a good recipe against the defensive line like you just mentioned. This is one of the best in the SEC.
Absolutely. But then, too, the guys on your defensive line who can rattle Calzada. And if y'all are able to be constantly in his face and put him in the dirt, it's going to be a long day. Now, the biggest thing, of course, is A-Chain and Spiller. And if you can somehow contain them, I'm not saying stop them, limit what they can do, then, I like the Rebels' chances.
I'm about to challenge a couple of our memories for a second, really big. Can one of you guys tell me how many sacks Will Anderson had against Ole Miss?
What was the question again?
How many did 1, 2?
1 or 0 or 1, I believe. Sacks Will Anderson against Ole Miss. He did have the strip fumble against Corral. No, it may have been Phildarian on that one. I don't think Will Anderson had a very good statistical game against Ole Miss, and I'm pretty sure that's because Lane Kiffin knows how to call an offense that can kind of take away the power of those front seven right there. He gets the ball away from them. If that's the strength of the game, he gets the ball away from those guys. I really like his offensive philosophy up against this Texas A&M defense.
Yeah.
Look, man, it's hard to argue that. And I like listening to you guys because it's on these days where the fan and me can't really differentiate, So I like hearing this. This is the kind of stuff that makes me feel good, other than what Justin's saying.
That's correct.
That should make you feel good. This should make you feel good. Read that. Petty, I have a bottle of bourbon with your name on it, hotty toddy. Screenshot this. This is a contract. We're going to let you send that to him there and make sure you collect on that bottle of bourbon and give your old buddy Barker a sip or two.
I'm holding you to that, Bill.
Love it, man. Good interaction with the fans today. Right. Thank all you guys for coming on here, helping us talk to Dexter and everything like that. That's been awesome, by the way. We're not finished. I just wanted to say thank you while you're all still here, because I know a lot of you guys Ole Miss fans, you may get tired of us when we start talking about the other stuff. But, hey, look, if you gamble, make sure you hang in there, because we have got some insights coming on that.
So, Justin,
what you want to do is you want to force Texas A&M to get into a shootout. Mm-hmm. I don't. Outside of the Alabama game, they haven't been able to do that. Of course, they played against weaker opponents, so the scores are a little bit more misleading.
Well, speaking of score, the question was, what's the score going to be? So make sure you get to that.
So the score, Ole Miss 45, Texas A&M 28.
Blowout!
Wow!
What? Wow. Okay, so of all the people, people that don't listen all the time, Justin is not a sensational guy. What he does is he's the one that has called my dumbassness and betting against Georgia many times. He has done a lot of this. When he speaks about something, we tend to listen, and it tends to go Justin. That way. So I know Petty just got the chills when he heard that.
Yeah, and, Justin, you just sent me up a little bit, buddy. It went from 6 to midnight.
This is not a guy with powder blue glasses on, guys. Let's be very honest. Justin has no affinity to Ole Miss. He lives in the heart of Mississippi, so if anything, he's probably got a little bit of that just kind of, God, I'm tired of being surrounded by the enemy.
If you're able to keep Matt Corral on his feet today and you limit the hits and they're in that rhythm, I don't feel like A&M has the personnel to go blow for blow. Yes, if Spiller and A-Chain erupt and able to break some long ones, then it can be a little frustrating for probably majority of the game. But I just don't think that.
All right, hold on. We've got an issue here. If anybody's driving down the highway and you hear a squeak and you think it's your car or you think it's maybe a bad window or a tire or something, it's not. It's my stupid dog that won't shut up outside. So I'm going to leave it with these guys for a couple seconds and see if I can deal with that situation. I'll be right back, fellas.
Go ahead.
I just don't think the A&M has the personnel to go shout for shout. Yeah, if y'all can limit A-Chain and Spiller, which they're going to get theirs today, but Calzada's not going to be the guy who's going to overwhelm anybody today.
Kiffin is the guest picker, by the way. He's walking up to the stage. How crazy is that? Kiffin's the guest. Or is he's just coming on out? Okay, no, he's just going on.
He's coming on out. Yeah, you got another hour. Well,
I'll tell you what, man. I don't know if it's in. Look, man, this is where the fanatic comes out in game day. I've spent all week thinking A&M because the Ole Miss defeatist in me. But man, as the game gets closer and you start thinking about it is game day coming to Oxford, does that matter? No, it actually does, man. Tell me that didn't make a difference when they played Alabama in 2014 and this city was alive, the Grove was alive. Man, there's quiet rumblings that Ole Miss is going to get their receivers back. I feel like this is a day that maybe at the end of it, we're saying again, Matt Corral's back in the Heisman race because something magical happened in Oxford. I don't know if that's the fan in my heart now speaking over the sensibility of what I know, like you've brought up the offensive defensive line situation. Look, the injury situation at Ole Miss, who knows what it is? How healthy is Matt Corral's ankles? But again, man, that goes both ways. Calzada's hurt. So I don't know, Justin, man, listening to you talk, knowing where the money's at in Vegas, there's something telling me deep in my heart, and what it's doing is setting me up to just be so. All this is doing is by the end of the day, if Ole Miss loses, I'm going to be miserable as shit because now I'm starting to believe. That's the short of it.
Well, the thing is, man, having college game day there injects some nitro back into your veins. It really does, because these past several weeks for Ole Miss, it's been very frustrating dealing with the injuries, and because of that, not playing to the full potential of Ole Miss. Because let's face it, if these injuries aren't happening, Ole Miss is challenging for the West. It's a whole different team. You know, they're y'all are in the top 10. Completely.
Injuries don't happen. We beat Auburn. Yeah.
So
sure.
with having game day there, you've got that vibe going again. You've got that people believing again. You got the team pumped up. Hey, we're in front of a national audience today. It makes a big difference in their confidence. And if your wide receivers are able to go, even at 85%, it's going to make a huge difference in the outcome of things. And so, and this is a day where Ole Miss can show up and say, "Hey, we're still here. Yeah. We haven't gone anywhere. We may have got hit in the mouth. We may have some Band-Aids on us, but you know what? We're not going to go quietly into the night, and we're about to show you something."
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I had muted my mic before I jumped out, but I'm getting out my crystal ball right now, and I'm sure as I was gone, Petty still didn't give us a score, but we'll find that out in a second. No. But when I look in this crystal ball, I'm getting a weird vision, and I'm seeing Ole Miss beating Notre Dame in a bowl game this year.
Oh, wow. I'd love that.
I don't know why. I just feel it. For some reason, I feel Ole Miss, Notre Dame, Sugar Bowl or something like that.
We will have an Ole Miss old school reunion from your family if that crap happens.
I'd love it.
You want to score 38-35 Rebels.
38-35 Rebels. You're looking for the close game, huh? Giving me only a 5.5 point cover? What are you doing to me here, buddy?
Man, as a Rebel, I can't. I can't feel good about a blowout.
You ever thought about reverse psychology? You know, you could go with the, I'm a fan and I feel like where I sit in the living room impacts the game, and you could go pick Texas A&M to try to. Exactly.
I'll change shirts 3 times during this game and underwear 4. So.
Underwear's a little weird, but the shirts I can see, Well, all right. So we've got it. So we've got me. I think I said 41-31.
So we've got a consensus. We've got a consensus. Ole Miss winning this thing today.
Consensus. Not only that, consensus money line Ole Miss. So if anybody's crazy out there, motherfucker Jones, you got a betting account. All right, why don't you go in and throw a little bit on the Ole Miss Rebels money line, guys? Scary, but I like it.
Like it.
Speaking of picks, we've got a few more that we threw out on our podcast this week that we're going to kind of go through, do a little analysis, because these are the big games of the week, and for some reason we pick those, which means we're not going to do very well. It's better to get the obscure ones. Most definitely, but the one that I've got my eye on, and this is not officially in our pick 3 because I've learned my lesson betting against Georgia. You will get burned. They got a killer defense. They will score a lot of points with that defense, and they will cover the spread with their defense only many times. So you have to watch out for that. However, I got my eyeballs on this Georgia-Tennessee game, and guys, I told you about a certain host of this show who doesn't let the crap get to him, who can actually tell you what he thinks is going on. And the last 2 or 3 times I've picked against Georgia, he's laughed at me and made me look stupid. What do you think about this game today, Justin?
Please tell us.
I think that this is going to be probably one of the more exciting matchups of the year, because Georgia, on paper today, really.
You mean a close game?
Tested. It's going to be a close game. I honestly feel like if Tennessee can get in that rhythm, stay in that rhythm, and play within themselves. Don't divert. Don't try to do anything new. Don't try to be fancy or cute. Hey,
no double reverses.
Hey,
no double reverse passes.
Josh Heupel pulled a pretty woman, went to the transfer portal.
Got himself a hooker.
Got him a hooker.
And it's paying off very well. And it's funny, it's like a pretty woman because, Richard Gere got Julia Roberts and groomed her into being this lady. Well, that's kind of the same thing here. Heupel has gotten Hendon Hooker and has groomed him and to be one of the actual better quarterbacks in the country right now. Yes, in the country. Their offense is ranked.
So you're condoning hookers.
Look, here's the thing. Make sure that we don't end up.
Hugh Freeze would be proud.
She's a hooker. She's a damn hooker. We gonna. Oh, that's a quote from the old podcast, right?
Podcast, by the way.
Ever since he came on as a starter, he's taken over that offense and has been so efficient. And no one's really talked about it until here. What's crazy is, and they can score quick. And the problem that is their defense can't keep up at times. So
absolutely.
Oh, that's awesome.
The Bulldogs have not faced an offense to this caliber yet, so they're going to be really tested. And Tennessee can do something that they haven't faced all year.
Let's be honest, too.
Tennessee can stretch the field. They got those dudes at receiver.
It's not talent that Tennessee has. They're not winning with talent. They're winning with scheme. And if you watched Kirby Smart at Alabama like I did for every single football game that we played and loved the guy until we played an Oklahoma or a Utah or somebody with an innovative offense, an innovative scheme that we haven't seen all the time that takes advantage of how good your players are, how well they're in place all the time. One of the things about scheming against the defense is if you don't know what they're going to do, it's kind of hard to figure out how to go against them. If you know exactly what they're going to do, a very disciplined defense like Alabama, especially this Georgia team now, old Alabama, this Georgia team this year, you can catch them off guard a little bit. Now you have to execute when that happens, and if Tennessee comes out and they're not executing, they're going to get driven into the ground like whatever there is, right? They're going to get killed. But if they can execute some of those plays, if Hooker can have a Steven Garcia type of day, they're gonna give him a hard time.
I bet Steven Garcia loves hookers.
I bet Steven Garcia loves our podcast. We probably mentioned him more than anybody outside Jim Harbaugh.
I heard a Steven Garcia story that was awesome not awesome, it's pretty horrible, but a Steven Garcia that was pretty epic story from college.
Pretty epic, not good, not very morally sound, is what you're telling me.
That balance.
But the way the way Tennessee gets beat in this game, like you mentioned, is if they get in their own way, they're committing penalties. But also, too, one of the weakest parts of their team, and this is where they're ranked last in the conference, is that the offensive line, they've given up the most sacks out of any team in the country or not in the SEC right now. And who
you pointed that out before they played Ole Miss. That was you're really dead in on that. That's a good stat because, man, Georgia can get after the quarterback, Justin. That's a really good dynamic to this game.
They can. I'm worried for Tennessee for this reason, and I'm optimistic for them for the same reason. If Tennessee gets out in this game and they run their quick offense in their first 2 or 3 drives and it goes 3 and out, will they try to change their game and play Georgia football? And that's what they cannot do. No matter if they go 3 and out, they got to keep being aggressive, keep being fast, and that might end up 60-0 with Georgia, 58 minutes of time of possession. It very well could. But on the other hand, if that starts working a little bit, or even if it doesn't work at first, it's your only shot. You've got to stay in your groove, and I'm hoping that Heupel and his Tennessee team will not get shook if they get punched in the mouth. On the other hand, if Tennessee punches Georgia in the mouth and they have to go to the air, I don't know how they're going to do it.
Here's another good stat too. A good part about this game. Where's the game played?
Home field advantage, kiddos.
At the home of the throne mustard bottle.
The single most obnoxious place to play football in the SEC besides Georgia.
If this was at Sanford Stadium, I wouldn't feel quite as hyped on Tennessee right now. But
good point.
Neyland Stadium can get loud. It can start shaking. The 110,000 running strong. Yeah, it's going to be a factor. And if Tennessee can keep things rolling and stay in
Week 0 Sports.
Look out.
Bonus pick coming at you right now. Tennessee plus 20.5. Take it.
If you let them hang around, they're a team that can gain confidence, and they won't go away so easy.
Guys, I'm going to have to pause again for a second. People are going to be pulling their cars over thinking they've got a squeaky hub or something with my Poobador out here giving me all this slack. So give me just a second. I want you guys, we've already covered Georgia. It sounds like we've got a new Week 0 Sports consensus pick on the Tennessee Volunteers plus that 20.5 by a whole point if you can, because 21.5 would be way better. And going to cost you about 40% juice, but you should do that. Next, I'm going to leave you guys on this one. Don't get too deep into it while I'm gone for a few seconds. I want y'all to talk about the Auburn and Mississippi State game.
Awesome.
Are we going to give our score?
No,
I thought you already did. Oh, the Georgia score. Georgia scores. Throw those out before I do this.
Okay. I'm assuming today that Tennessee is going to play their best game, and they're not going to do anything to beat themselves. So, a lot closer than the experts think. Georgia 34, Tennessee 31.
Ooh, that's close to my score, man. Very close. Petty, what you got?
31-17, dogs.
Are we all going to be right at the low 30s? Because I'm 31-27, dogs. I think it's going to be a close game. I think the dogs will trail a little bit in this game. I do think they're a resilient team. I do think they're probably the best all-around team in the country. Now, the best team doesn't always win the game, so I'm going to think Bama's going to beat them if they make it to the SEC championship. Having said that, I think Georgia's going to show us that they are resilient today by making a little bit of a comeback.
I do want to pose a question. There's been a lot of talk about eventually bringing back in JT Daniels would removing
because
Stetson
Bennett. Because I mean,
I get Stetson Bennett is not aesthetically pleasing. I get that he's not the guy.
But he's getting it
your
done.
TV screen.
But he's getting it done.
He's getting it done. The offense is in a rhythm. The guys on his offense want to play for him. So my question is, even though JT Daniels might be better athletically, would making a change at any point, especially right now where you're in the heart of things, you're getting towards the end of the season, if you were to make that change, does that hurt Georgia?
I don't know, because I think JT Daniels gives them an extra dynamic on offense.
Thought I told y'all to talk about Mississippi State and Auburn.
Justin's babbling on fucking JT Bennett. Okay. No, I don't, because he hasn't excelled their offense, so it doesn't hurt their offense to bring in a new guy. It'd be different if there was a problem with the offense, but the offense hasn't been a problem because it hadn't even needed to be there to win.
Right.
So you bring in JT Daniels, what's it matter? Because the defense has won you every game anyway. Nothing changes because Stetson Bennett's putting up 200 yards passing with an interception and a touchdown every week. So no, it can't hurt the offense anymore. If anything, it can actually make it dynamic. And that's the scary thing, I think. So no, you want them to stay with Stetson because he just kind of gets it done. If they bring in JT, he actually has the talent to make it dynamic. Look at that daggum big Fraggle Rock dog coming in here.
Fraggle Rock. Okay. Fair assessment. I just want to throw the question out there because it's been talked about so much, and it kind of got me thinking, would it be a good thing? Would it be a bad thing? So I was just curious to hear, what your thoughts were.
Yeah, well, that's my thoughts. I don't think that Bennett's elevated the offense, and he hasn't elevated or brought it down. He hasn't been needed.
Do you guys remember Tua Tagovailoa coming in and beating Georgia?
No.
Yep.
Look for a JT Barrett rescue today.
There you go.
Hey, speaking of that, Tua Tagovailoa did that very thing.
Boy, he looked great this weekend for the Dolphins, didn't
Guys,
he?
if you watch him play by play, he looks good every play except for he's running for his life, and he has on his offensive line the three leading players in allowing sacks and allowing pressures. Three out of his five offensive linemen are the top three in the country. So cut the man some slack.
Absolutely. Hey, Michael wanted us to get to Bama, Georgia. 2 weeks ago on the show, we had a guy that coached running back Ja Hunter in high school.
Auburn, Mississippi State, you mean?
Auburn, Mississippi State. I wanted to give a quick shout out. Yeah, my bad. Before we went into Auburn, Mississippi State, and Justin will actually know this because we played McGee when we were at Northwest Ranking. Enterprise, Wes Roy, that's who he coaches right now, beat McGee in the Mississippi 3A playoffs last night. McGee is the defending 3A state champions. And with 21 seconds to go, tied 14-14, Wes's son, Trace Roy, scored the go-ahead touchdown to beat McGee.
Badass. Friend of week 0 getting it done. I love that.
Boom! Trace!
I love that. Wes, way to go, man. Sorry I wasn't here for the interview. Had music festival to do.
Yep. Yeah, we'll get Wes back because Wes was awesome. But, hey, go Enterprise. Take that state home for the 3A title in Mississippi.
Well, so are we finished with Georgia?
Yes.
Yeah, we're done with Georgia.
Mississippi State, Auburn. What do y'all think, guys? And Petty first, because I want to hear the nonsense before I hear the good stuff.
Okay, State, Georgia. This is actually going to bring up, this game is in a question I'm going to pose to you guys real quick here in a minute about refereeing, because I've talked a lot about it this week in our podcast and my writings. But we're going to a game that involves two teams that have had the most insane referee issues in games this year, with Mississippi State losing 2 games because of refs, and Auburn being the benefactor in 2 games, and the
actually
non-benefactor. Georgia kind of, So the referees have been heavily involved in Auburn Mississippi State games this weekend. So maybe this is one to look at to see what these goofy ass SEC refs are up to. Yep. But after a game where Auburn couldn't get shit going on offense at Texas A&M, so only scored 3 points. Bo Nix looked like he just went back to
that Boise State offense doesn't work good against an SEC defense.
But Mississippi State has been one of the weirdest teams in the SEC this year. They've lost to LSU, they've lost to Memphis, but they beat Texas A&M on the road. They've won some big games. They beat the hell out of Kentucky at home. They almost beat Arkansas if it wasn't for a kicker, which apparently the Pirate has opened up a kicking contest in Starkville this weekend for anybody on campus that has a leg and is NCAA eligible.
Maybe that girl on the Vandy soccer team should do transfer portal over to TAMU. Or excuse me, to Mississippi State.
I'll say this, man. This is a weird line. 5.5. Auburn's favored at home. State looked really good on the road against Arkansas, but if you remember, Auburn went to that same stadium and beat the shit out of Arkansas. I think Auburn comes home again this weekend. I know y'all hate Auburn. I'm a Rebel, so this is a weird. Who do you cheer for?
I don't hate Auburn, but
yeah, it's no hate. I'm
interested in the data here. I'm interested to see how our perceptions line up with
Auburn's got a solid secondary. I think they can contain that Mississippi State, throw it 70 times a game. I think Auburn's going to be able to run the ball. I think this is a game Auburn wins with one of those stupid Mississippi State and Auburn always play ugly scores. This is going to be a 17-10.
Do you think they'll have a bidding war for one of next year's players before the game, or they'll wait till recruiting time?
Is there a Cam in the portal? State.
Oh no,
Seriously.
Cam's back. Oh my God, Cam just got $4.5 million free to come get hurt at Carolina.
Mississippi State. You were
sorry, Auburn fans, but I hate the guy. He's terrible. I fell in love with Cam the year that we went to the Super Bowl. He was giving balls to kids and stuff. It really felt good. It was really good for the city of Charlotte.
Awesome.
And then he laid down and kicked and screamed like a baby during the Super Bowl in the game on the field, and has not really done anything since then except for going to New England, getting beat out by my guy, Mac Jones, who was still available at the 9th pick when the Carolina Panthers picked J.C. Horn to pander to the sidecar state over here. All right, I'm done with the Panthers. Done after this. And then they paid the news to go around and find people that actually liked bringing Cam back and put it all over the news and act like the whole city's excited, and I haven't talked to a single real human that's excited about this.
Okay, so we've hit a sore spot with our co-host from Charlotte, Cam Newton.
Damn.
Okay, I was in the stadium when he came back from 24-0. It was 24-0. I was in the top row with Bryant Denny, living life, ran into my big brother in the fraternity during halftime. It was a great experience. Hadn't seen the guy in years. Walked back out, and I don't know if we scored again, and they beat us. So it was pretty terrible.
So Cam Newton's a double sore spot if you're an Alabama fan that lives in
I've got another one. Just kidding.
Holy hell. So back to Alabama, back to Mississippi State, Auburn. Mississippi State. Seriously, the difference in whatever Auburn paid Cam Newton is the difference in you winning a national title, because you had a defense and you would have won a national title with Cam Newton.
Can I take it a step further? Let me take it one step further. A little comic relief here.
Boy, he is.
Carolina just paid $4.5 million to get Cam back here. Auburn got him for $250K. That is a ripoff, baby. That is a ripoff.
Mississippi State, did you not watch The Price is Right? All you got to do is offer $251. $251 and you got a national title.
$251.
I'm sorry, Jamie Green. You're going to the Native American burial grounds. I know it's during the day. Auburn's going to win this game. They're going to cover the spread.
Wow. Like it. That seems like the obvious pick, Mr. Petty. Justin, right? I'd like to hear your input before I give y'all what's really going to happen.
A couple of things about this that does not want me to pick Mississippi State. One, they're inconsistent as hell. Two, it's at the Indian burial grounds where voodoo just happens.
Native American.
Native American.
We're PC on the show.
Sorry.
Possibly correct is what that stands for.
I just got a strike right there.
Don't get my show banned. I can't advertise it when y'all talk about all that stuff.
Hey, listen, I'm on a string right now on my channel too, because somebody from another network turned me in for things I didn't do.
Well, I turned some people in for stealing our logo one time, and he can go kiss it, by the way. And I'm not going to tell you his name because I don't want anybody to go watch it, but screw that dude. I have got a little story for you guys. Have you given me the Ole Miss? I mean, you given me the Mississippi State Auburn pick yet?
Yeah, I said 17-10.
Got you. Let's talk to the guy with reality.
Yeah, whenever I start to make a point is when Michael jumps in and interrupts me with nonsense that don't really contribute to the flow of the conversation.
This is heavy sense.
Lord, over there looking like Silent Bob from Jay and Silent Bob. Won't you act like everybody shut the hell up?
Okay, it's fucking No Shave November, man. I'm sorry, it's getting big, and it's going to be even worse by the time we get to 11:30, man. Doing my best. See, you guys don't give a crap about prostates or Americans' sexual parts.
Oh shit! I've had way too many Bloody Marys.
What's it like to be in your world?
It's confusing. It's very cloudy. Very cloudy in here.
It's a lot of moving parts.
With respect
have you seen
to
that GIF? Have you seen that GIF from the Hangover where the numbers are crunching for Allen? That's Michael's brain.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. It's a mess.
In respect to time, since Alabama plays in 29 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and pick Auburn, and it's going to be one of those ugly games that
How much?
really wants to see. Auburn wins 21-20.
Let me tell you something. Justin is
covered.
right about this game right now because I'm looking at the money, and you know what we know? Vegas doesn't like to lose money, okay? 61% of the bets are on Auburn, okay?
Okay. That's not that.
Of the bets that are on Mississippi State, they're all way bigger. So it seems like we got a pros versus Joes situation where the pros are playing Mississippi State and all the average Joes are on Auburn. So I think Auburn wins this game by a field goal. Okay. You got your 21-20. I've got 27-24. I think that's the final score. Auburn pulls it out in the Indian Burial Ground. Excuse me, Native American. And possibly without the Magic because I think it left with Gus Malzahn.
No, the Indians. They don't move the dead.
That sucker got out there in the middle of the night and took him out. And he's got him in a van somewhere waiting for his next big job. He's not going to bury him down there in Central Florida. You can bet that. He's going to bury those suckers somewhere important.
Hey, Michael, I'm going to need you.
And I'm going to guess it's going to be something like Washington or something like that.
I'm going to need you to post the comment that says, I agree, Petty. I don't know what they were agreeing with, but they agreed. So we just need that shown.
We need to confirm that someone agrees with Petty. I love it. He's going with it. This is also a very huge Auburn fan right here. I think Auburn's going to win the game. I just think it'll be within that 5.
Eagle, strike up the band.
All right, next game, guys. We're down to about 14 minutes of live action to talk about here. So,
sorry.
Petty had a big pick this week on our show, and it's probably in the game that nobody gives any shits about. Like, literally zero shits, zero fucks given in the world about this game.
We already talked about Cincinnati.
Oh, no, this is worse. Kentucky versus Vandy.
Oh!
we call this the SEC championship game.
If a tree falls in the wood and nobody is there to see it, does it make a noise? That is this game. But what you need to know, those are the games you bet on because what do we do at week 0 sports? We fade Vandy. And Vandy's back on the docket. They weren't there last week. Hey, Vandy, congratulations. You didn't lose last week. You also didn't play a football game. However, I don't care that Kentucky's taking lumps in Starkville. I don't care that the referee screwed them out of a game at their home field with a missed face mask in Lexington. Vandy sucks. Minus 21. Take Kentucky. They're going to win this game 38-10.
Do you have any input on that one? Let's keep it short on this game.
Yeah, that's all we
need. Short. This is a reset for Kentucky, a confidence builder for those guys. Kentucky 52, Vanderbilt 3.
Nailed it.
Look, I'm telling you, Kentucky beats the fucking shit out of Vandy in this game. Kentucky has a solid team, and that's the thing is like any solid team is going to destroy Vandy. Anybody that's got holes and they kind of half play, like you could roll North Carolina into Vandy, and I wouldn't know who to pick because you can't tell what team's going to show up with the UNC Tar Heels. But you know who you're getting with Kentucky. You're getting probably the 5th best team in the SEC, and they're going to be the 5th best team in the SEC when they get there, and they're going to beat the crap out of Vandy.
Player of the game, Cavassier Smoke.
Smoke! Great name. How did we get a Smoke Monday and a Cavassier Smoke in the same season? Let's just write that down. Write that down. All right, next game. This is one that was in my picks, actually. We've got the Arkansas Razorbacks heading down to the LSU Tigers who played their final game of the season last week.
Yep. Done. How did y'all play so shitty?
Dude, I'm telling you something. There is enough talent at LSU to make 2 other SEC teams good. If 2 other SEC teams could pluck talent from LSU and become contenders, they have talent. They just actually tried for 1 week, guys. They tried.
I was about to say they actually gave a damn.
They cared.
Absolutely.
100%.
Bama factor. So let's talk about this week's game again. Arkansas at LSU. Which one of you guys has got the insights on that one?
Well, listen, you got to hope that with LSU playing their Super Bowl last week that they got to have some kind of give a damn left to play against their rival. But they won't.
Big rival. Like, I bet if you ask LSU fans who their real rival is, Arkansas doesn't make the top 3.
Boy, if you don't shut the hell up when I'm talking.
Hey, this is not just your show. This is conversation, man. This conversation.
It's the Michael show.
Don't say stupid stuff. Don't say stupid stuff and we won't jump in.
I won't have a chance to say stupid stuff because I'm constantly interrupted.
Quit bitching and talk.
And I said you people. Anyway.
You people.
Arkansas 45, LSU 17.
Who are you calling you people?
I did not see that one coming.
400 yards of total offense.
Holy hell. I didn't see that coming. Now, also, full disclosure. Petty, go ahead because I'm about to give away my, it's one of my picks.
No, man. Arkansas is going to win this 28-17.
28-17. So that sounds more reasonable to me, to be perfectly honest. When I'm looking at this game, I think LSU packed it in. Again, like I said in the intro, LSU played their final game of the season last week against Alabama, and they were proud when they came out of there. They were happy with their performance. Coach O was cheering and said he had the better team on the field.
No, they would have won if they would have had better team.
We'll see about that this week. You're exactly right. What you just said is the truth. The better team usually has the better score.
And I'm tired of hearing that crap. The better team didn't win today. Well, if the better team won, then they would have won. They would have won.
That's right.
So here's what I got for you.
Don't make asinine statements, you freaking caveman.
I think
Brett Schaefer.
The Bobby Boucher.
No. It's my bread and my quarterback.
But Brett Schaefer, my quarterback.
All right, so here we go. This is what I think is going to happen in this game. LSU doesn't show up at all, okay? Arkansas comes in there, and this is kind of a Super Bowl for them because every game really is, let's be honest, okay? Arkansas is going to come in, and they're going to run the ball down LSU's throat today. They are going to. They're not going to pass a whole lot. They're going to beat LSU, and I don't think it's going to be the annihilation that Justin gave here. I hope so because I picked Arkansas, but I do think you get Arkansas in a 37-21 win here.
It's close.
A lot of consensus picks today.
I hope yours goes the right way, Justin. I prefer
today,
your analysis to mine.
Today, Arkansas gets upgraded to a better bowl.
Well played. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
I agree with
All
that.
right.
Dude, I just saw the best game day sign.
We throw it out there for me.
Words nobody has ever said to mom.
Okay.
I want to be a yell leader.
Oh, man. Well done. Well freaking done. Actually, 11 people apparently said that, or however many of them that they have. If it's not 13, it's kind of, or it's not 12, it's a weird
What did
number.
you think about Paul Feinbaum dressing up in that last week?
He was appropriate.
I didn't see that, but where did they get a kid's uniform for him to fit in?
Oh, wow.
I mean, they just gave him one of theirs. They're all it was.
Dude, those guys' arms are like this big around. Paul Feinbaum is the size of my skinny left arm. You could fit him inside the skin right here. That dude's tiny.
Yeah,
Tiny. Next
Roman
game.
Harper.
Here we go.
Roman
We've already covered that Ole Miss game ad nauseum. So let's get to our WTF game of the week from our podcast,
I
Petty.
can't keep making fun of dude cheerleaders.
You do it all you want
Yes,
to. Do it all you want
let's
to.
talk about the WTF.
You're pissing off like an entire 14th of our fan base, but hey, no problem, right? I love you guys, Texas A&M. Best place I've ever watched a game outside
No,
of Crimson
not,
Tide. Be
all
very
aside,
honest.
my first cousin is a veteran and
Penn State or Michigan fan?
And no, he is an Aggie, and I love him. So,
All right, good deal. Next
Michael
game,
Carnes.
WTF game of the week. I'm trying to get us done in 6 minutes.
Go.
So,
WTF.
WTF game of the week. We pulled this out in our podcast. The reason why we pulled this out is because you've got a Michigan team that's only lost one game to their rival in the last second, kind of controlled the game most of the time and everything, and they're headed over to Happy Valley to Penn State, and they're only a 2.5-point favorite against a team that's dropped a couple bummers. You know what I mean? Penn State being a team that's very solid, beat our Auburn Tigers, dropped a couple bummers. But shouldn't Michigan be favored by more than a point? Shouldn't Michigan be favored by more than a point in this game? Somebody talk to me about that. No?
No.
why?
Michigan, outside of that Michigan State game, they've been really underwhelming scoring the ball. Well, their offense is pedestrian.
Well, it's a run the
at
ball
best.
offense.
Well, it's nothing flashy about it. I don't.
You know what it is?
It's the khaki pants does not thrill me or excite me. I felt like he's going to find a way somehow today to keep this closer than it should be. So yeah, stay with that.
And this is why I'm pulling this up. This is exactly why I'm pulling this up. This is a guy that knows football, and he'll be able to tell you what's going on. To the casual fan that sees the top 10 Michigan team playing an unranked Penn State or a down-the-road Penn State, and Michigan's not top 10 after one loss in the playoff rankings?
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, they're
check
7th
that.
or 8th.
Well, no,
Check
I'm saying,
that.
yes.
They're not for real. Exactly, not for real. But to the perception, in gambling, it's all about what the dummies think, the people that don't pay attention, the masses, the 90% that just
85%ers.
bet. Yep, there you go, the 85%ers. And these guys are all going to jump all over Michigan, and they have to the tune of 80% of the bets and 80% of the money on Michigan. That is, and look, it's at home in one of the best home field advantage stadiums in the country. Top 10 for sure. Don't care who anybody says. If you haven't been there, don't argue me. That place is fantastic. So I got Penn State on this one. I think Penn State wins this game by a touchdown or more. Probably not a touchdown or more. I'm getting crazy, but it will be a win.
You are crazy.
I'm crazy. Anybody? Let me give you a final score because it's the Big Ten. I'm going to keep it low. All right.
Low expectations, low score.
24-22 Penn State.
What a weird score, but I like it. Those happen.
24-22, Penn State. A lot of field goals because Harbaugh will kick the field goal on 3rd and 7, man. He don't care.
17-13, Penn State.
Ooh. Are we going to get a week 0 consensus on our WTF? Come on, Petty, what you got?
I got Penn State.
What's the score?
21-17.
21-17. I like the Penn State secondary. I think they're good.
I hate Penn State. I'm picking this solely because it's a WTF line.
It's a WTF.
Our WTF lines are money.
Side note.
If you don't believe it, look at last week.
Does anybody keep up with our picks each week and who's ahead and who's actually getting them right?
We have actually got an app, and if he's listening right now, I sure hope he is. There's a guy who's starting an app right now, and it hasn't been quite ready for prime time. We've been wanting to calculate and keep our picks on that app. As soon as it's ready, we're going to announce it. We're going to bring him on to talk about that app and let everybody see where they can follow us experts in our picks on these games.
Hey, Justin, I was 3-0 last week, which makes me 100% on the season.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm undefeated in gambling picks.
WTF picks are undefeated on this podcast. We're doing pretty good. Let's just be honest.
WTF last week was what, North Carolina? What happened?
Yeah, North Carolina last week. The week before was Michigan State. What happened? All right, got the next game for you. Next game, guys. We've already covered that Arky LSU. I actually have that one in my picks. My 3 picks were Penn State, Arky. I had Oklahoma in the Oklahoma-Baylor game, and this is the big change, guys. I teased this on our podcast. I wasn't sure I was going to stick with that. I'm switching it to Baylor. I think Baylor is going to cover this game, possibly win it. They're at home. Talk to me, Justin or Daniel.
Baylor wins outright 38-35.
Petty.
Oklahoma wins 38-21.
Oh, you got the Oklahoma cover. So we got split. House divided here, guys.
We're
I am moving
divided.
from Oklahoma to Baylor in this game. I think the Baylor defense has a little bit of an advantage. I got a couple of other edges that I found in there. We need to sell those on another side at some point. But I do believe in this game. And
I think Baylor was exploited in the last few weeks. I think they're a low-scoring team, and I think Oklahoma's actually getting better. I think Oklahoma makes a statement.
That was my reasoning for picking Oklahoma originally, Petty. That was my exact reasoning for picking Oklahoma originally. And I found out in all of my errors that I've made in my life is that when I don't do analysis and I just take it from, I think Oklahoma's getting better, I tend to get burned because I'm using the national perception. I'm going to break through my national perception.
I didn't do analysis last night, and I had South Florida, and then Kronberg came on, and we started doing analysis, and I picked Cincinnati.
At the end of the analysis, I told you not to take Cincinnati, and I was trying to change my pick, if you'll recall, and the time happened.
I had South Florida all day.
All right, guys. So you've seen it right here. We have changed that pick. Any of you guys that listen to the podcast and aren't listening this morning, you're kind of screwed because you're not going to find out that I am not taking Oklahoma today. No Oklahoma. Stay away from it. Let's get into Petty's picks from the podcast real quick because there's another few premier matchups. The first one is one that I picked out too. This is a week 0 consensus, but this is one of Petty's picks. Talk to me about that ACC matchup that used to be the biggest game in the world.
The biggest game in college football when we were kids, no doubt outside, was Miami, Florida State. It was must-watch TV, and it has become crap TV. However, in the last few weeks, Miami has started to kind of get it together and started to win. Florida State got a flashy win a few weeks ago, but they've reverted back to who they were at the beginning of the season. Miami's going to win this game solidly today. Take Miami -2.5.
On the road.
Wide left.
Let's hope for no wide left. Right down the pipe. What you got,
Miami
Justin?
lose to Georgia Tech last week?
Don't care. No, did they?
Don't care. Yeah.
They did, and that's an improving Georgia Tech team, but let's talk about that.
And that was after
Florida State sucks.
And this is almost a WTF, because why is the home team not favored? Number one, when you have a game that's even and both teams suck, usually you just favor the home team by 2.5, right? Why is that not favored?
Miami beat Georgia Tech 33-30. So let's get those facts out there.
Sorry about that.
Derek King against Alabama didn't make any mistakes. His team got annihilated, but he played a good football game. Now he's no longer on the team. Is that correct? He's hurt or he's not playing right now.
But if you look,
Van Dyke is playing and he's playing good,
and he's good. Yep.
Which
Go ahead,
is my point. Is that if you actually watch any of Miami over the past several weeks, they're actually playing a lot better under Van Dyke. Teams are responding better. And they went up to Pittsburgh, and they stole one from Pittsburgh, came back and won a close one, obviously, because I was wrong on that one, against Georgia Tech. Florida State's quit. So, yeah, this is going to be Miami wins big.
Week 0 consensus.
37-7.
37-7 blowout in Tallahassee. Boy, my Florida State fans don't want to hear that. Guys, this is really what we're looking at right now. Miami. Now, it is a rivalry game, so shit could happen. So keep that in mind. If it does, we weren't wrong. It was just a rivalry.
But I will say this, Charleston Rambo, since transferring to Miami, has been very underwhelming this season.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we've got 14 minutes before kickoff, and we've got one final petty pick. Absolutely. And this one applies to your team, Justin, so you're going to want to hear this. Petty is drifting out of our lines, and he is going to take us into the land of totals for this one. Bring it to us, Petty.
Look, man, this is a 9 out of 10. If this is the 10, I'm sorry. If Bama does something stupid, I'm sorry. I'm saying that in advance. But when Bama plays teams like this, especially with the offense kind of struggling, Saban's not going to do anything crazy before a big week. The over-under in the Bama-New Mexico State game is 67. So you understand if Bama wins 52-7, that's still a cover.
Also,
Bama
the line is 51. I got to add that in. So at 51, the other team, if Alabama scores 52, the other team can score what, 17 still?
Yeah, and cover. So with that said, man, again, 9 out of 10 times when Bama plays the Mercers, the New Mexico States, the whoever the hell fill in the blank, they win 52-3, 52-7, 59-3. Those are the
63-3. Yeah,
now every blue moon they'll do something stupid.
63-11.
So there you go, 63-10, and screw you. I'm taking the 9 out of 10 here. Bama's going to win this game 52-3. Take the under in Alabama under 67.
And you can cover that one by 15 points or 12 points if it goes 52-3.
Yeah, it's happening. But I mean, New Mexico State's not going to score on this Bama D. I know y'all are off of Pete Golding. New Mexico State sucks.
Let me ask you something, Justin. Are there any games that we haven't covered this week that we're overlooking? I hope not. I like to be perfectionist.
I think we pretty much got everybody
covered
in there.
What do you think on that Bama? You're the, for us, when it comes to a Bama game, like you're the final, this is the final shoe to drop. Can you tell us what you think is going to be the final score of this Bama game?
Okay.
Give me a little analysis on the way in because we got cut off earlier.
I think we're going to play kind of flat in the first half. In the second half, we're going to erupt. This is a game where it's going to be very vanilla. It's going to be one of those games where no danger of losing, of course, because they're one of the worst teams in the country. They've only won one game. Their defense is absolutely atrocious. So I expect fully for us to kind of use this as just as a way to kind of improve on some things, kind of find some things out, especially on this offensive line. I don't think Dalcourt's going to play at center. He doesn't really need to. Save him for the big game. No chance risking him getting hurt in a meaningless game. So we may see Seth McLaughlin. So he's another possibility. Been getting a lot of high praise this week and throughout the year at the center position. But I really want to see some things really sealed up. I want to see this offensive line get better. Of course, it's not really a measuring stick when you're playing New Mexico State. I do want to see, however, like I mentioned earlier, I want Jaleel Billingsley to show up today, make some catches, show that he can still do some things. I don't want Bryce Young to throw more than 10 passes. That's just plain and simple. Let's just run the ball, get B-Rob 100 yards, Roydell 100 yards. Trey Sanders maybe even 100 yards.
Here's the thing. I think you're going to be a little bit dumbfounded in part of this game, Justin, because here's something that Petty pointed out that I was never able to see through my crimson glasses, but it was something he pointed out in one of our podcasts a long time ago. Sometimes our coaching staff will come into these small games like this, and they will call plays that purposefully won't work unless they are perfectly executed. Like, why in the hell would you run that play in this situation? And they're testing the execution of their players a lot of times. And I think you are going to sometimes look at this and be like, why the hell did he call that or whatever? And you're going to have to think back that this is a scrimmage.
Wildcat.
Yes. Yeah. But no, I'm not talking about that. That wasn't that was LSU. That was a terrible call. Let's be freaking honest. We're not playing LSU this week. We are playing New Mexico State, and we're going to treat this like a scrimmage. It is. Look, we're going to treat this like a scrimmage. We're going to try to get people better on the line. We need to put people in their second string position on the offensive line and see what we can do against a shitty team because we're going to be playing some good ones in a couple days.
Exactly. Play J.C. Latham.
Let me ask you something. One more question for you. You'll know this answer. This is a big question I got to ask you, Justin, before we run out. Let me ask you this. We brought in 2 5-star wide receivers this year, Ajayi Hall and like a guy named what was the other 5-star? Kamar something or
Tomorrow week.
no, that's a running back. We brought in another 5-star that was actually the higher rated receiver over Ajayi Hall this year. He was a freshman. If Ajayi Hall's not going to be playing, are we going to see that guy? And I hate that I can't remember his name right now.
Ty Jones Bell?
Nope.
No, Christian Leary?
No.
Yeah. Nope.
Nope.
No. Well,
I'm gonna give you the 2021 recruiting class
Doesn't
real
matter.
quick.
Y'all just need to win 52-7 and go under. And I want people money. So who gives a
Alabama
shit?
wins 56-6.
Ja'Cory Brooks is the guy I'm talking about
Brooks,
from
yes,
IMG. 6'3", 185. He was higher rated than Ajayi Hall coming in. We haven't seen anything of him. Is he doing it right? Are we going to get a chance?
We're gonna see him. Alabama 59-6.
Ooh, 59-6. That covers
Jalen Milroe will
both
have
spreads.
2 touchdowns.
Yep, that's the under in the Bama. I love it, guys. Man, absolutely love it.
But take your reverse.
Bama in the
weird
under
reverse.
reverse.
Bama in
God,
the under.
dude, taking Bama minus 51 in the under sounds like
And-
a suicidal bet to me. Like you are going to be on the edge because every time they score a touchdown, you'll be like, wait, stop. No, I need more. Wait, stop. I need more.
If you were to bet that, you would not enjoy 1 second of the Bama game until it was
No,
over.
no. And it's probably a winning bet for that reason because nobody's going to take it. All right, guys. Hell of a show. Y'all got anything else
Yeah,
for me
man.
before I cut this off? We've got 8 minutes till kickoff.
Woo! Hottie, freaking toddy, man.
Roll
We
fucking
need to
Tide.
win this shit today.
Roll Tide.
I'm cheering for you guys because that takes a lot of heat off my Crimson Tide, man. So I am 100% pulling for Ole Miss today.
Well,
We need a strong show in the Grove.
If Ole Miss does anything, we help you jackasses out all the time. You know,
Because-
24 against
Thank you.
Arkansas helped y'all.
We'd love for Mississippi State to help us too.
Tell you what, if we're ever in that spot, we'll put it back to you, buddy. That's for sure.
Y'all will never be in that spot. You're always in.
There's a
the standing
chance.
driver's
There's a
seat.
chance. If we're ever in the spot where we can be the spoiler and get you in the playoffs, we owe you one. That's for damn
Guys,
sure.
It has been a great
don't blow
show.
in the egg bowl if you do.
Dexter McCluster.
Dexter
We
McCluster.
talked
man.
some gambling. We've had a few cocktails. We've got college football coming up. Game days in the Grove.
Taught you guys how to make a Steagle Rattler drinkable. Put a little vodka in that stuff.
Justin
Mine
didn't
went
have
down.
any more domestic disputes in his apartment before the game. You know, before
Look,
the show.
man, if we don't have the crooked lamp back in your background before the next show, I'm going to fall apart. I need crooked. There we go. The domestic. We're going to call that the domestic disturbance.
Domestic.
All right, guys. Well, we've already given our roll tides and hottie toddies. Y'all got anything else? I'm Michael.
No,
we
I'm
are
good.
Week 0 sports and other stuff. We can't wait to see you on our podcast and here at Saturday Morning Cocktail Kickoff next week.
Hotty toddy next week, man.
Justin at the
Yes.
Bama Standard. Don't forget to
Bama
tune in
Standard
Tuesday nights.
Next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. We will announce our guest on Monday. Also, if you've never watched our show, definitely watch our show the week of the Iron Bowl. We got something really, really big in the works. Trent
Brewing.
Richardson will be back, but he's bringing along a buddy. So
Speaking of iron bowls and egg bowls,
and he's a-
Daniel and I have been tossing around an idea of a before the game, Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever day we can fit it in, iron bowl preview by itself and an Ole Miss preview by itself. Are you in, Justin? Can you do it? Egg bowl, iron bowl previews week of.
yes,
And we
Because
need
it's going to be Thanksgiving weekend. It's going to be very hard for all of us to get together on that Saturday morning. We may be able to pull it off. We're not 100% sure. We're still trying to work out the logistics. But we will at least bring you the previews, right?
Justin, we need to get some Auburn guys. I know you mentioned some. We need to get we're going to get some Ole Miss State guys.
All
We're
right.
gonna get some Ole Miss Auburn.
Love it.
Bama,
Well,
Auburn.
guys, let's say goodbye to everybody. We'll have our conversations about all that offline. Just want to get you guys excited for our next shows coming on. Roll Tide.
well done.
Hotty toddy.
See y'all next week.
See ya.
Uh-oh, I got to play my promo before we go.
Promo.